Life after football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies.
Good evening. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly, and alongside me tonight is the Football Ramble's Luke Moore. Over the next few hours, we will be bringing you the latest transfer news and views. Mo Salah has joined Trabzonspor. Is it the right move for the former Liverpool player? We'll be asking if Vinicius Jr. is right to stay at Real Madrid. Have Manchester United done enough in this transfer window? And, of course, the latest on FIFA versus UEFA with Ben Jacobs. Remember, we are live on YouTube and your smart TV. You can also get involved by giving us a call on the usual number 03717 223344 or give us a text or WhatsApp on 81089. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Luke.
Good evening.
Oh, how are you?
Very well. Pleased to be here. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Haven't you? Because the tea's not been made correctly. What are we playing at talkSPORT? What's going on here?
It shames me that I like quite milky tea, and everyone thinks it's hilarious that the tea I like is quite milky. Because, you know, I'm from the very far south of England, right? And so I'm speaking to a northerner here.
You are,
yeah. You'd probably be disgusted seeing the tea I like to drink.
Do you keep the tea bag in?
No way.
No, just checking.
I just wave the tea bag past the cup. And it's more like a tea milkshake.
So it's just milk and water, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. Which I know is a shameful thing to admit, let alone on national radio, but there we go.
Okay. Northerners, I'm sure you're with me on this one, absolutely reeling days. But despite this, I think that we're going to have a good show today.
Have a great time.
I've got a bit of breaking news for you, actually, because Leeds United, they have announced, you've got your tea now, so you're just drinking that, but breaking news, Leeds United have announced the signing of goalkeeper James Trafford from Manchester City.
Yeah.
Quick thoughts on that?
Really good move for him. I think a good move for Leeds United as well. I mean, the manner in which he signed for Man City was quite strange as far as that he comes in there.
Rug got pulled from underneath.
Yeah, big time. And I think, you know, I think he was within his rights to feel quite aggrieved by that. And now he's essentially going to have to start again. But I think Leeds is a really good landing spot for him.
Yeah.
I personally believe he's better than the goalkeepers they've got there. It looks like it's about 40 million quid.
I was going to say it's not a cheap deal, is it?
No, it's not. But he needs to. I mean, the age profile he is, though, it kind of makes sense. And he needs to play, because if he does play, many people would suggest he's going to be the long-term natural successor to Jordan Pickford at England as well. So good move for him. Finally, hopefully he can find a bit of stability in his career now and really start to build.
Yeah, well, reportedly, he has a release clause, so I think he sees this, no disrespect to Leeds United, but I think he probably does see this as a stepping stone to go to Leeds, to get the minutes, to get the experience, and then perhaps go on to pastures new.
I'm not going to be... some people would be unfair here, Angelina, and say that is a typical thing a Mancunian would say. I wouldn't say that because that would be unfair. Leeds United, they're a massive club. They're a massive club. It's a great move for him. Let's wait and see. I don't think I'm not saying he is doing this, but I don't think he really should be talking about stepping stones and all that kind of thing. He needs to play. He's not played anywhere near consistently enough at a permanent club. So he just needs to get cracking and start building from here, I think. Yeah, definitely. Got to focus on the here and now, but I completely agree with you on the England side of things as well. I think that he looks like the best person to go in after Jordan Pickford, I would say. But let's chat about some more transfers, because after months of speculation, Mo Salah finally has a new club. He has agreed a 2-year deal with Turkish side Trabzonspor. The former Liverpool player was, of course, linked to the Saudi Pro League for what feels like years, but he will be remaining in Europe. Yeah.
Turkey, Trabzonspor, what are we thinking about this? I mean, arguably, would you say about the 4th best team in Turkey? 4th, 5th?
Well, came 3rd in Turkey last season, currently in waiting to see who they play in the Europa League qualifying round, I think.
Still got European football, technically.
Yeah, exactly. They haven't. I don't think they've played in the Champions League for a very long time. I'm freestyling here, but it would be about 15 years or so. I am surprised by it. I'm not surprised on one level, because I think that the amount of money Turkish clubs can pay players is high relative to the quality of the league, and that will definitely be a factor in this, because he's obviously earning big money at Liverpool. I feel like he didn't want to go to Saudi because, being fair, the quality of the football in Saudi and the quality of the fan culture is severely lacking, in my view. I don't know if that's what he thinks, but I suspect that's the case.
Turkey, it's a completely
different
culture
for football,
for sure,
for sure. But I also do think that he could have gone to a better league, and maybe look, I'm putting 2 and 2 together here. Maybe other people out there will know better, but I think probably Serie A, for example, they might not be able to get near these wage demands, and maybe Turkey can.
Yeah, because Opta currently ranks Trabzonspor as, the Turkish league, as the 14th strongest domestic league in world football. So when you look at it from that point of view, you think, could Salah have aimed a little bit higher? Should he have aimed a bit higher? I agree with you. I think Serie A could have been a good option. Do you think the Liverpool, his love for Liverpool aside, a Premier League club would have wanted him?
I don't think that was realistic for him. I don't think he would.
Do you think he could have still played in the Premier League?
He could have.
Yeah.
For sure. I think so. But talking about the relative strength of the Turkish league, do you know what rank Trabzonspor as a club have in the ranking of European clubs? So
I think I've read this.
Liverpool would be like, I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but they'd be like top 10 or something like that. Trabzonspor are 145th. It's a massive step down.
It is. Let's be completely honest. But like you say, the wages probably do come into it. But Mo Salah overall, he will be remembered as an absolute legend within the Premier League. Where does he rank for you? Because he was incredible at one point, wasn't he? I know things weren't as good last season, but you can't forget what he did in the Premier League.
He's right up there. He's right. The season before last is phenomenal. He's done it for a pretty long time. He's won what you need to win to be considered as part of these lists. He's very. I don't personally think he is Thierry Henry. I don't think.
I was going to say, because he's in. People talk about him with Henry, Ronaldo, Aguero. Is he just below that, or can he be in those conversations?
I wouldn't have him above Henry. Yeah, Ronaldo's best years were probably elsewhere, but he's obviously in there. Aguero. The problem is they're different types of players. Like Rooney as well was right up there. Dennis Bergkamp for me would be right up there in terms of ability and stuff. So it depends on how you want to judge it. Do you want to judge it on trophies? Do you want to judge it on contribution, length of service, all that kind of stuff? It's hard to say, but he's definitely right. I mean, in terms of recent years, he's right up there. Very much part of the conversation, which is all you can ask for, really. Yeah,
I completely agree. Well, best of luck to him in Turkey.
Got quite the welcome from what I saw.
Yes. Have you heard about the number 61?
Tell me.
So the number 61 is very important in in the area where he is moving to. It is there. A lot of people will pay to make sure that the 61 is within their phone numbers. It's on people's car registration plates, etc. So Mo Salah actually wore a shirt with 61 on it when he arrived, but he will be wearing the number 10 shirt. But it was a nice little gesture to, you know, show the people.
Apparently it's a symbol of the city, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's done it to show the people, hey, I respect 61. It's like, you know, I'm from, my postcode is M28. Yeah. So, you know, if I sign for Man United, which is not going to happen, especially with the women's team, which I won't even get into, but I could have, if I was getting about 28 on me, what would you have for your area?
Well, I live in SE 27, so it'll be 27.
27?
Yeah. Okay. I'm also very unlikely to sign for Man United, though, Angelina. I'm sorry to say that.
Well, you never know. We'll be getting into Manchester United's transfer.
Chelsea are signing old players at the moment, so maybe Chelsea.
You know what? You never know. It happened for Danny Welbeck. Why couldn't it happen for Luke Moore? Do you know what I mean?
I think me being put in a sentence with Danny Welbeck is quite bad for him and very generous for me.
Yeah, and I love Danny Welbeck, so I'm going to have to take that back.
I do too.
Sorry.
I do too, yeah.
Big Danny Welbeck fan. Fuming United didn't get him.
No, and it's strange, isn't it? Because, you know, Chelsea have gone from signing the youngest players around to two of the oldest, and nothing in between.
Yeah, because that's the question, isn't it? Should they have been? Are they going too old now without trying to wait?
Well, I guess Morgan Rogers is still quite young, but he's very experienced.
Yeah, should they not have been going for someone around 27?
Yeah,
28?
that's what people have been saying.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, well, best of luck to Danny Welbeck, best of luck to Mo Salah.
And best of luck to Jordan Henderson.
Jordan Henderson, of course. Hopefully he's recovering from that break he had at the World Cup. That looks awful, that, didn't it?
The video of that was horrific. I don't think enough was made of that.
No, because we were all so excited. And, you know, I was there at the World Cup. It was a great moment. And then I was outside the stadium and I heard, he's broke his arm or he's fell.
It was posted on the BBC Sport website with no warning whatsoever. Would you like to see a man whose arm snapped underneath him?
Yeah, not
horrible.
Absolutely awful. Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of the World Cup, I wanted to touch on the FIFA situation because UEFA are maintaining their boycott of all FIFA competitions in reaction to the plan to sell off stakes in the World Cup to private investors. In addition, the English FA has now sent a letter withdrawing its support for Infantino. We'll be speaking to Ben Jacobs a little bit later about this, but right call from UEFA here and also the English FA withdrawing the support.
Well, UEFA are basically saying that they can't relinquish their boycott or climb down from it until Infantino and FIFA give assurances that this type of deal is never going to be suggested again. And that's something that Infantino hasn't done. So I guess from their point of view, they're saying it's, the point remains. And I do think UEFA have got a lot of power in this because realistically, no one is going to want to sponsor or watch or invest or anything in a World Cup that hasn't got European teams in it.
Without the current winners of the World Cup, Spain. It can't work, can it?
They've kind of gotten behind the eight ball there. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops. But also it needs to be seen in the context of this long-running feud for power in football between UEFA and FIFA. It's going to rumble on. It'd be interesting to see what Ben thinks about it.
Yeah, because for me, in any other walk of life, you would expect Gianni Infantino to be out the door by now. But things, I guess, work a little bit differently for FIFA.
I said this last week. The truly evil people, they do find a way. They find a way to stick around. Don't underestimate it.
Yeah.
He should be long gone. If he had any shred of dignity left whatsoever,
he'd do a Homer Simpson, wouldn't he? And he'd reverse
back into the
bushes.
Back into the hedge.
Yeah.
But he's not going to do that because he doesn't have any dignity. So it's impossible for him to do that. He'll have no shame. He'll probably try and hang on till the bitter end.
He's just power hungry. That's where this whole idea comes from. Let's be honest. He can only run a certain amount of terms, and this would have secured him, within FIFA to continue having a certain level of power.
But the way he went about it was bizarre. I mean, it was truly the act of a completely out of touch individual. I mean, there are senior employees and colleagues at FIFA saying we knew nothing about this. We have to resign because we had no idea this was even happening. So he's clearly gone completely off piece. He's gone completely down the Mekong, off grid. And no one knows what's happening. The very least he can do is just step out the way. But he's obviously not going to do that. He's not going to do that.
Even Donald Trump reportedly hasn't had much to say on it. He's apparently ran back to him when all of this is happening.
Yeah, because at that point there was nothing in it for Donald Trump. So
he's like, I've got nothing to say on it now.
Sorry, who are you? Yeah.
Brutal. Gianni thinking that they were best mates, eh?
Yeah, whoever could have seen that coming.
I know.
I think they deserve each other personally.
I completely agree with you on that one. Gianni and Donald forever, hey? But this is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly and the legend that is Luke Moore with you until 10 p.m. I'm not going to stop.
Carry
Up
on.
next, though. Yeah, I will. Up next, we will be getting a roundup of the latest transfer news and all the news on FIFA, of course, with Ben Jacobs.
But the Vinny Jr. one was a audacious attempt, to say the least.
Big word for you.
I've been learning this book that I've been reading. They've got these big words in. I'm trying to keep them in my brain. No, but it was always going to be tough shit, man. Like Vinny Jr. leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, it just doesn't sound right. As Arsenal fans might get angry, I'll say it, but like, imagine Neymar Jr. at Barcelona. He's not going to leave Barcelona for Arsenal. They're always going to come to an agreement. Real Madrid aren't going to let a talent like that at 26. Do you know what I mean? What's he worth on the market? I know he's got a year left, but what's he worth, Vinny Jr.? Over 100 million easily. Real Madrid are never going to let that go. And Vinny Jr. in his mind won't want to leave Real Madrid. Imagine the crowds in Brazil, the people that love Vinny Jr. because he plays for Real Madrid. I just can't see it.
Well, that is interesting because it was my understanding that it was if he wanted to leave Real Madrid. There's never been a he wants to leave Real Madrid.
He's not said it, has he?
He's looking for the right offer. He's looking at Mbappe going, can I get money close to that? Can I get a deal close to that?
Of course.
And if they're not going to give me what I deserve, then yes, I would be interested in what Mikel Arteta is doing. And don't get me wrong, Arsenal are a massive club and they are on the verge of winning the Champions League. They're looking to go back-to-back Premier League champions. They absolutely can, right? They can. So, and I think he would get them over the line, but he's Vinicius Jr.
Good evening. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly. Alongside me tonight is broadcaster Luke Moore. We were just talking about Mo Salah. He signed for Turkish side Trabzonspor today. We've got a message in on 81089, and it's a question for you, Luke.
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Yeah, go for it.
Mo Salah or Eden Hazard?
Oh,
Who do you want to annoy?
guaranteed to annoy some people, whatever I say. I would say Mo Salah. They've both won 2 Premier League titles. Hazard was amazing in that season back with Mourinho, and he was amazing under Conte when they won it then as well. Those are the 2 seasons. Obviously, Salah, they both won 2 Premier League titles, as I said. Salah's impact was bigger. I love Hazard.
Yeah.
He's unplayable on his day. Brilliant. One of the best backsides in football history as well. Incredibly powerful trunk. But Mo Salah's loads more
better than
goals.
John McGinn?
That's what he's the natural the heir to the throne. I mean, he's the current holder of the award, you know, but he's standing on the shoulders of giants, you know.
Yeah.
But Salah's loads more goals.
Standing on the buttocks.
Exactly, standing on the buttocks of giants. I should have said that. Salah scored loads more goals, and I think probably played at a higher level for longer, I would say. So for me, it's going to be Salah.
Yeah.
I'm just looking now. I mean, he had 200. Yeah. Salah, it's got to be Salah. But I love Hazard. I love Hazard.
That was as diplomatically as you could have answered that. I think.
It's not really what pays the rent at talkSPORT. I need to be a bit more bombastic with my opinion. But I mean, you sprung it on me. You did spring it on me.
I did spring it on you, and you've got until 10 o'clock to come up with something. So I'm sure you've got something in the locker. But in order to maybe try and get something more out of Luke, you know, keep your texts and WhatsApps coming in on 81089.
I'll answer any question.
Yeah, any questions you've got for
Not just
Luke.
about buttocks.
Not just about buttocks, not just about football. You know what? We'll talk about anything. Why not? And don't forget you can give us a call as well on 03717 223344. But this is the Transfer Insider, so I think it's only right that we round up the latest transfer news now with talkSPORT senior football correspondent Ben Jacobs. Hello there, Ben. As always, busy. As always, we're questioning if Ben Jacobs ever does actually sleep. You are just non-stop. Let's just kick things off immediately with FIFA versus UEFA. Ben, you have been across this story. What is the latest?
Yeah, so UEFA have bitten back. Yesterday, it was kind of a blow in favour of Gianni Infantino because in Rabat, some senior members of Infantino's leadership team had backed him, and then there was a joint letter sent to the FIFA vice presidents and members of the FIFA Council, and that came from not just Infantino, but also the General Secretary, Infantino's number 2, by the name of Matthias Grafstrom. And that's significant because Grafstrom had, in the days before, written a memo to FIFA staff basically saying that FIFA Forward Enterprise, Gianni Infantino's privatisation plans, were unfortunate. And then suddenly there was a joint show. There was a backing in a letter, at least from those in the room. And then Grafstrom and Infantino went to a women's AFCON game and took a kind of thumbs up photo. Now, today, UEFA, who have been threatening gridlock, that they're going to basically run FIFA down, stop any logistics, and ultimately not allow Gianni Infantino to function. And I asked them today, as a consequence, whether even with these privatisation plans failing, if they're still going to stick to this boycott of FIFA competitions. And UEFA sent talkSPORT the following statement that said, UEFA associations have been very clear about the conditions attached to the non-participation in FIFA competitions. And then the statement went on to say that yesterday's announcement that some people employed by the FIFA president agree with him changes nothing. The conditions have not been met to lift the boycott. So UEFA is still going to boycott. Infantino is going to fight on. And now behind the scenes, UEFA are hoping a candidate such as Victor Montagliani, the CONCACAF president, comes forwards to challenge Infantino. Meanwhile, Infantino is campaigning, in particular in Asia, which is going to be a key battleground, to see if he can get enough votes to keep to that magic number of 106 or beyond. And if he can, then Infantino will be confident that he will once again be the FIFA president come March next year.
But Ben, I mean, unless I'm missing something obvious here, UEFA have quite a lot of the power in this situation, don't they? Because if they stick to their boycott, even medium term, it's impossible to imagine Infantino's position being tenable, because no one's going to want to experience a World Cup, for example, without the European nations in it. And clearly he would have failed in his most basic role and responsibility, which is to keep the other member nations kind of happy and to keep the tournaments functioning.
Depends which way you look at it, because UEFA don't have any more power than any other confederation or federation in votes, but in commercial power and in catalysing an effort to try and force Gianni Infantino out, absolutely. But he spent most of his tenure falling out with Alexander Ceferin. Yeah. So key to all of this is really, do we think the boycott is a reality, or is it just a bluff? And if Infantino doubles down and says, you're bluffing, I can get enough votes outside of UEFA, you say you're going to do this, but you won't follow through. And by the time a lot of these tournaments come around, the election will have passed anyway. So Infantino's tactic is just to get 106 votes through Africa, through parts of South America, through Asia, which is a bit more divided. And UEFA are hoping that CONCACAF block vote with them. And if it is Montagliani to come forwards, 35 from CONCACAF, 55 from UEFA would equal 90, only 16 short of the majority needed. And Infantino will feel in a strong position until such point comes when a viable candidate stands against him, because otherwise it's all threats and bluster, and it sounds like Infantino cannot carry on or have any kind of tenable position if UEFA is saying, we're not going to work with you. But the reality is, the election isn't that far away. And if nobody stands against Gianni Infantino, the feeling from Infantino, at least, is that UEFA will bluff and will threat. And then if he wins, will step aside and try and find a way to work with him. So the next step is not actually these statements or these boycott threats. It's really more, can UEFA galvanise a move to find a well-supported candidate to rival Gianni Infantino?
And it's all about those numbers, isn't it? With that 106, was it you said, Ben?
Yeah, 106.
Yeah, it's a very, very interesting story. I'm sure you'll be keeping us across all of that. Elsewhere, there are rumours today that Barcelona looks set to hijack Real Madrid's move for Rodri. What can you tell us about this situation?
Yeah, so an exclusive that myself and Chief Football Correspondent Alex Crook broke this morning, that Barcelona are leading the race for Rodri. And this is astonishing because Rodri wanted Real Madrid. Real Madrid had got a mandate financially from Florentino Perez to start conversations with Manchester City. They were prepared to pay about 50 million euros. City, of course, would like to keep Rodri, but they understand that for family more than football reasons, he'd like to go to Madrid. So an exit is looking likely. And now Barcelona have entered the race, and they believe they've got the player buy-in, and Rodri prefers to move to Barca over Real Madrid. Still need to wait for a bid. Manchester City will be looking at other deals in the market, even outside of Rodri's position. If you think Rodri, best player at the World Cup, Ballon d'Or winner, despite his age, I would imagine City will take Jan-Paul van Hecke, a defender who only had 1 year left on his deal, Brighton to Spurs, 52 million, and say Rodri surely has to be more than that. So some of this will come down to finances, but our understanding is Rodri is leaning towards Barcelona over Real Madrid.
Oh, you having that, Luke?
I mean, well, last week when I was on the show, Ben was on, and we were talking about how he'd gone to City and asked if he could go to Real Madrid specifically, right? And he was born in Madrid. So, I mean, maybe he just really wants to leave now he's not playing with the Guardiola.
Any Spanish club will do it this time.
I think City should be doing everything they can to say, look, please just give us 1 more year and you can go. But, I mean, I don't know if that's possible or what, but, yeah.
Yeah, and finally, regarding Real Madrid and Barcelona, etc., Ben, Real Madrid have announced that Vinicius Jr. has agreed a new contract with the club. What are the details of the new deal? And for Arsenal fans, were they ever even a little bit close to turning his head?
Yeah, they made a strong pitch. I mean, in hindsight, it looks like Arsenal were a stalking horse and Vinny Jr. got an improved offer from Madrid, and Arsenal were always there to provide that leverage. But Arsenal caught Real by surprise with a strong pitch, and Real had refused over and over again to give Vinny Jr. anything more. And then suddenly in the last 24 hours, it's changed. And I think part of the reason why is Vinny Jr. was genuinely considering Arsenal as a possibility. But now he's going to extend. In fact, he's already signed, and that deal is 6 years until 2032, thanks to an improved offer that only was made to Vinny Jr. yesterday, according to my information. And by Wednesday evening, Real became really confident. Arsenal are now still going to add some form of either left-sided or versatile attacker. Not all the profiles are identical to Vinny Jr., but Julian Alvarez, one possibility if Atleti decide to sell. We know they prefer to keep. Barcelona would love Julian Alvarez as well, but Atleti may prefer, if they realise the player wants to leave, to sell outside of La Liga. So he's a dream target. Junior Krupi off the list for 2 reasons. 1, he's injured, and 2, Bournemouth were never really going to engage this summer on a sale. Iliman Ndiaye has been discussed as well. And there'll be other options too. Some will say Bradley Barcola. I feel like if Arsenal want Bradley Barcola, their tactic has to be to gazump Liverpool, because the player wants Liverpool, but PSG want 170 million euros. So Arsenal would have to overpay and hope that Liverpool back off, but he's a possibility too. So Arsenal is still going to be busy between now and the end of the window. And just before I leave you, speaking of contract extensions, another talkSPORT exclusive from earlier. If we move from Arsenal talk to Spurs talk, Mickey van der Ven is now close to signing a new deal at Spurs, and this is a real coup for Roberto De Zerbi, because it's very much the new manager that has convinced Van der Ven to stay. And as soon as Tottenham stayed up, talks have accelerated. It's not signed yet, but sources tell me it's close. And there was never any credence really to suggestions that Liverpool or Barcelona were going to sign Van der Ven this summer.
Well, there you have it. Big news for Spurs fans. We'll be speaking about that a little bit later in the show. But thank you so much, Ben, talkSPORT senior football correspondent Ben Jacobs there. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly and Luke Moore with you until 10 p.m. Up next, we will be chatting more about Vinicius Jr. and Real Madrid. Should he have agreed that new contract?
you think he'll regret the way he went about last year?
Well, he should, in my opinion. I'm his biggest fan, right? Someone who scores 40 goals a season from right wing, not centre forward. People know him inside out. He can beat you both sides, so you can't stop him. To do that 8 years on the bounce, then he starts the season off, and he had 3 goes. In my opinion, he threw his toys out the pram and said, like, the club have thrown me under the bus. That was the first one. We're all going like, what do you mean by that? Club has thrown you under the bus.
Just had an unbelievable bumper contract.
He's got a 2-year contract, 500 grand a week. And then, again, he got left out again, and he had another go. And then just as he was on his way out the door, and he hadn't got the manager of the sack, he had another go saying we should be playing Jurgen. Basically, we should be playing Jurgen Klopp football and go back to it because we've gone right off the boil. And all the directors must have read it and gone, right, we've obviously got the wrong manager. So I don't think he should have done any of that, but he done it, and now he's gone. So I think probably on reflection he would have thought, I've tarnished my. He's like a superstar at Liverpool. He's up there with Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush as a legend. But that leaving like that, I don't think he should have done that because it was petulance. It was like as if you can't leave me out. I'm Mo Salah. Well, he did.
Good evening. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly, and alongside me tonight is the Football Rambles Luke Moore, who had some leftover curry for your lunch.
For lunch,
today?
yeah.
You're a big fan of takeaways and having a bit as getting enough so that you got some for leftovers tomorrow.
Also, food waste is a big problem in this country, Angelina.
Yeah.
I'd like to do my best to stamp it out.
And that is exactly what you are doing. Fantastic. Well, we will talk about Vinicius Junior's future in just a second. But first, the English football season starts tonight. The Carabao Cup first round mainly kicks off this weekend. But there is one game tonight. Bristol City of the Championship take on Walsall of League Two. And at Ashton Gate for talkSPORT is Ian Abrahams.
And welcome to what is a stunningly sunny Ashton Gate tonight and the start of a new era. They ended last season, Bristol City, with Roy Hodgson in charge. Michael Scubala, who led Lincoln to storm League One last season, is in charge this time round. 5 debutants tonight, including Sam Tickle in goal, the very experienced Jed Wallace, and also up front last year's top scorer in League One, Lauren Tolai, who was, of course, at Plymouth. 11 players have come through the door for new Walsall manager Lee Grant. 7 make their debuts tonight, including Jed Ward, who's played for both Bristol clubs in his time, Bristol Rovers and here at Ashton Gate, Bristol City. Only 4 survived from last season, including striker Aaron Presley. Should be a good game this one, but Bristol City, who last week beat Newcastle 4-1 in Eddie Howe's last game in charge in a pre-season friendly, are heavy favourites. Bristol City against Walsall here at Ashton Gate.
Thank you, Ian. We'll keep you up to date with what's going on at Ashton Gate throughout the evening here on talkSPORT. Now, Vinicius Junior. his future has become the topic of the transfer window, it seems. And after rumours of a move to the Emirates, Arsenal fans, I know you got excited. You know, would Gyökeres give up the number 14 and give it to him? Who knows? Real Madrid, though, they have announced that the player will sign a new contract at the club rather than joining the Premier League champions. Luke, what has been your thoughts on this whole Vinicius Junior situation? Was there ever a part of you that thought he's going to Arsenal? Not that you're an Arsenal fan and that force.
I'm not an Arsenal. Well, it broke when I was on the radio last week, and we were excited about it. And me and Will Gavin were on, and you know, Ben Jacobs was reporting it, Ornstein was reporting it, and we thought, oh, there's something in this. And I understand Arsenal fans getting excited. That's part of being a football fan. If you're going to get excited about that, you're not really going to get excited about much. So I don't blame them for getting excited about it at all. But in retrospect, it now looks like, you know, a relationship's gone through a rocky patch. So one of them is looking at another potential partner, and eventually they've just got back together. They've just got back together in the end.
Yeah.
It was a quick week-long dalliance, and now they've renewed their vows, and that's the end of it. And Arsenal were left out in the cold. So I feel sorry for him. I do.
Poor Arsenal.
But it does look cynical now, doesn't it? It looks
does.
like he was only just doing it to get a better deal.
You are side-eyeing Vinicius Junior thinking, what were you doing toying with those poor Arsenal fans?
Those poor North Londoners.
I know. I reckon.
Haven't they been through enough?
I know. They've had nothing good to talk about, have they? For me, when I look at this situation, when it comes to Real Madrid, when Jose Mourinho was announced as returning to the club, my eyebrows went up, as they tend to do anyway. My eyebrows move a lot, but they went up because I thought, can Vinicius Junior really trust Jose? Because obviously last season... Can anyone trust Jose? That's the big question, isn't it? But we obviously saw last season during the Champions League that Mourinho seemed to almost blame Vinicius Junior for some of the racist abuse that he receives. And there was, you know, outcry from absolutely everybody that it was completely inappropriate for him to say something like that. And if I'm Vinicius Junior, I don't know what's going to happen behind the scenes. Maybe they'll have a conversation about it. Maybe Jose Mourinho will apologise. I don't know. He doesn't...
No, I wouldn't say he's known for his apologies.
No,
I wouldn't say it's his strong suit.
Yeah.
No.
I'm always a big fan of the apology should match the disrespect. I would like him to come out and publicly take accountability and apologise for this. We don't know if that's going to happen, but I do look at it and think...
Can I just say I do know if it's going to happen or not?
And it's not going to happen, right?
Don't hold your breath on that.
Okay, I definitely won't. But this is an issue, surely, for Vinicius, because if this happens again, which unfortunately him receiving racist abuse could happen,
it's happened a lot.
And probably will happen, and that's the sorry state of the world and of football at the moment. But can he really look to his manager and be like, this guy's going to have my back on this?
I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I've never been the victim of it, and I'm not a Real Madrid player, and I don't know Jose Mourinho. But you'd expect that on day one there would have been some kind of clear the air talks. I mean, Vinny Junior is one of their biggest players. You know, he's one of their biggest names. He's been there a long time. Mourinho, it would have been probably one of the first things on Mourinho's to-do list to get this sorted, because Mourinho decided, as you mentioned, and I thought it was shocking at the time, and I think it's shocking now. He chose to side with Prestiani in that situation. He chose to defend his player because he was at Benfica at the time, and it's an awkward situation to say the least. But the ultimate thing is, Angelina, that Vinny Junior's decided to sign a new contract. So the short answer would be, if we're going to try to empathise with his situation, he's decided that he doesn't care about it that much because he wants to stay at the club. So who knows? But ultimately, it looks like it's not been a factor. I actually thought at the start of all this, when it became clear that he might be available and Arsenal started to go on high alert, that not only the contract talks, which stalled for such a long time, but it felt to me like the Prestiani thing might have been, and the Mourinho thing might have been the trigger event for the whole thing in the first place, that maybe his agent was saying, look, he'd rather not play for Mourinho. And let's not forget that Mourinho's not been at the top of the game as a coach for quite a long time, and many people, including me, would suggest that he's quite lucky to have that job again.
I agree.
To say the least. So a lot of things at play. The ultimate salient fact, though, is that he signed a new deal. So he's obviously happy to be there.
Yeah, and obviously with new deals comes wages. Do you think that this jump in wages for Vinicius Junior could mean that, you know, maybe when it comes to somebody like Jude Bellingham, when they're negotiating with him, that, you know, when it comes to contract talks with him next year, you know, they're going to have to be paying up?
Well, I think that I don't imagine it'll go the other way, will it? I think
No,
it's not-
he'll be like, actually, you know what? I'm going to take a pay cut.
Well, he signed a 6-year deal, 3 years ago, Bellingham. I can't quite remember off the top of my head if he signed an extension or whatever, but I mean, he's on good dough.
3 years left on his deal.
He's on good dough.
Yeah.
So they unless something happens, or I don't know if he's going to open talks about an extension anytime soon, who knows? It does tend to go that way. That was a lot of the chat around when Vinny Jr. was being linked with Arsenal. How does it affect their wage structure? He would have commanded much higher money than any other player at Arsenal. Is that a factor? Is that going to affect the harmony of the group? I don't know, because I'm not a professional footballer. But it does tend to be a race to the top in this type of situation. If a big player signs a big extension, surely if the agents of the other players are doing their job properly, they're going to say, knock,
Hang
knock,
on a minute.
knock.
Yeah.
Can I have a word, please? Much like I've seen you do in the talkSPORT offices, by the way.
Never mind, nothing does. I'm booting them down. Don't you worry.
Rightly so.
Yeah. Well, regarding Vinicius and Arsenal, Gabby Agbonlahor actually had some strong words on the matter. And if Arsenal are even big enough to sign Vinny Jr.
Arsenal fans are so deluded. Like, the hope was there, but like, I was saying it off air, wasn't I, Shaban? It's like when I was younger, and I used to DM Rihanna, asking her to come to the Bull Ring in Birmingham for a tour. That's on level with Arsenal Football Club, thinking they've got a chance of getting Vinicius Jr. from Real Madrid. Like, Arsenal will only sign players from Real Madrid where like they're coming to the end and they're not at their best. Like Real Madrid, you don't leave Real Madrid unless you're going to like PSG, like players might do. Look at Neymar leaving Barcelona because he was going to get crazy money. Or Saudi. I don't see Vinny Jr. coming to the Premier League. Not even Manchester City, not even Chelsea, not even Manchester United. They're not big enough for Vinny Jr.
So that was Gabby on talkSPORT Breakfast with Shabana Hearn. Speaking about Arsenal, like the chopped liver, that was a bit rude. Also interesting, Gabby was DMing Rihanna. That's maybe a different story, but,
I'm not going to comment on that.
No, we won't comment. But regarding Arsenal not being big enough to sign Vinicius Jr., is that a bit of a disrespect to Arsenal, or do you understand where he's coming from?
I don't think the metaphor works.
No.
I didn't have much time for the metaphor. Arsenal absolutely have to be in the mix to sign these players. They're the Premier League champions. They've just knocked Real Madrid out of the Champions League.
Yeah.
They're looking for a player to take them over the top to be victorious in that Champions League. I don't agree with what Gabby said. I think it's incorrect. I think Arsenal should absolutely be in the hat for these types of players. And the clubs he listed there, not even Man City, not even Chelsea. Arsenal are a bigger club than both those teams.
Yep.
A bigger club than both of those teams. So you've got to get it right. Arsenal are the reigning Premier League champions. Arsenal is a bigger club than Chelsea.
And the Premier
League
is a huge league.
Exactly. So I don't look. I get his view. Good on him, but I don't agree with it. I think I think I would actually go further than that. I would say Arsenal would be negligent not exploring it if they heard from contacts that Vinny Jr. was potentially available. It would be negligent not to explore it. It just would. You have to go for it. You have to do it. And I do take one thing I do agree with him on is that big players at the very top of their career don't tend to come to Premier League clubs. It is rare for a player at the very top of his game at already a European super club to come to the Premier League.
Yeah, is that more of a Premier League problem to an extent? It's
Probably,
not an Arsenal problem.
No, it's not an Arsenal problem. No, it's not. No.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Arsenal fans, I want you to defend yourselves against Gabby, because we're not having this, to be completely honest. But I also want to know, where should Arsenal look next if they're not going to plough all of their budget into Vinicius Jr.? Give us a call on 03717 223344 or give us a text or WhatsApp on 81089. Don't worry, Arsenal fans, because Gabby Agbonlahor isn't back on talkSPORT Breakfast tomorrow, because Alan Brazil is back alongside Ray Parlour from
the legends themselves.
The legends themselves,
right.
Ray Party Parlour and Alan Brazil. It's going to be an absolute cracker, isn't it? This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT with me, Angelina Kelly, and Luke Moore. We'll be with you until 10 p.m. Up next, we will be sticking with Arsenal and where they could be spending their money next.
No smoke without fire. Of course not. He is interested in the Arsenal project.
Arsenal
if he's to leave Real Madrid.
Arsenal going for Vinny Jr. is like me sending Rihanna a message on Instagram saying that I'd love you to come to the Bullring in Birmingham. I want to take you around Birmingham on a date. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, he's not leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, one league title in over 20 years, can't win a Champions League in their whole existence. He's not going to come to Arsenal. He's used Arsenal to get an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound a year, and he's going to sign a new contract at Arsenal. Sign a new contract at Real Madrid. Simple. What he's doing. Arsenal have been used.
Did you ever shoot your shot with Rihanna though? Did you ever do it?
I might have. Yeah, I might have. That's private business. I might have.
But the point is, we know that Arsenal have made a go at Vinicius Junior, so they've tried.
And I maybe I tried, and it didn't work out.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for Arsenal, is it?
You make me cringe.
No, one league title in over 20 years. Never won the Champions League. Can't sit at the big table of the Champions League winning clubs like Villa, Nottingham Forest, Celtic. And you think you're going to go and sign Vinny Jr., the fan base that Vinny Jr.'s got in South America because he plays for Real Madrid.
It's not.
Rodri's doing everything he can probably to get out of Manchester City to go to Real Madrid. Haaland will go to Real Madrid at some point in his career.
It's not dead yet.
Good evening. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I'm Angelina Kelly. Alongside me tonight is the Football Rambles' Luke Moore. Before the break, we were speaking about Arsenal, and after Vinicius Jr. Has seemingly committed his future to Real Madrid, what does that mean for the Premier League champions? I mean, Luke, when you think about it, and the options that are available to Arsenal now, Vinicius Jr. is staying at Real Madrid, make your peace with that. Who realistically could they be bringing?
Well, give them time to grieve first.
Yeah, how long do we give them?
Yeah, I mean, it happened today. You give them to at least tomorrow, I'd say.
Okay, 24 hours?
Yeah.
Right, then we need to be back. We need to be back looking for people.
Exactly, they do. So what was the question? What are their options?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ben Jacobs talked about Barcola. I think Barcola's obviously available.
Yeah.
The fee is massive, but Arsenal have got money. If Barcola prefers Liverpool, then I guess there's not really an awful lot you can do about that. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't end up in some capacity maybe trying to get a hold of Rashford. I don't know if it would be a loan or maybe later in the window, because I think it's really difficult to think of where Rashford could go because his wages are massive, so it probably needs to be another Premier League team. And I think he might fit in quite well. If he could clean slate it at Arsenal and really fit in and find his appetite for it, I think he'd be quite good. I mean, as a Man United fan, how do you feel about that?
You know what? It's really tricky with the Marcus Rashford situation because I think Manchester United fans can forgive and forget and move on. And some people feel that perhaps he didn't give Manchester United his all at times. However, for me, I don't see how it works. I mean, if he stays at Manchester United, he's a Manchester United player. Michael Carrick should be playing him. And maybe help to raise his stock a little bit, and in January he can get a move elsewhere. But I think long term, I just don't see how it's going to work because he clearly wasn't happy at the club. And I think also with my England hat on, I would like him to be somewhere where I think he's got the guaranteed game time. You've got Cunha on the left, and I think that United are probably going to stick with him over Rashford starting. People are really excited about Patrick Dorgu on the left wing. So I don't know.
Do you know something, Angela? When I was on the show last week, I talked about Rashford perhaps may have just to go back and be a Man United player. And lots of people got in touch on the text, on the phone line, saying that he needs to apologise to Man United fans. I mean, we won't accept it unless he does.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be getting booed at Old Trafford or anything like that. But fans are hurt by what happened. And I as a Manchester United fan, would like to see him come out and say, listen, this is the situation. I'm at Manchester United. He said to Henry Winter when he wanted to move on, he said, I'll always be a Red. You won't catch me speaking negatively about the club, which he's pretty much, upheld his end of the bargain. I would like to hear him say, I understand that I didn't give you guys my best at times. I understand that there were certain things going on that were reported that wasn't befitting of a Manchester United player. And all I can do is prove it to you guys on the pitch and do my best. And I think if he said that, fans would completely welcome him back. But regarding Arsenal, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, obviously, he's not Vinicius Jr., but if Mikel Arteta can, potentially put an arm around the player, I think regarding the media attention that Rashford gets, I think Arteta would protect him as best he could. Being around some of the players that he's been with England at the World Cup with, etc. I think it could be an option, definitely. Because he did play well at Barcelona when he played.
Yeah, no, and he did okay in fits and starts at Villa as well. I think it's pretty tough to. I mean, I'd have no disrespect to Iliman Ndiaye at all. He's been fairly decent at Everton in the last couple of years. But I mean, if you're an Arsenal fan, you're waking up thinking Vinny Jr. and you're going to bed thinking Iliman Ndiaye. That's thin gruel. That's tough to take that. So I hope with the greatest respect to Ndiaye, I think it's a bit of a climb down. So
it's a tough act to follow.
Hopefully,
isn't it?
The problem with setting your stall out so high, dominating the transfer window for a week or so, talking about the potentially signing one of the best players in the world, is anything after that's going to feel like a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
I think Rashford would still be exciting for Arsenal fans. I think he would. So they're going to they've obviously identified the fact that on the left side of their attack they want to bring someone in.
Yeah.
So as far as we know, that attitude hasn't changed. It will be fascinating to see who it ends up being.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, we heard Gabby Agbonlahor on talkSPORT Breakfast, who was critical of Arsenal's ambition to sign Vinicius Jr. We wanted to give you, the talkSPORT listener, the opportunity to respond. Reese, the Arsenal fan, has called 03717 223344. What would you like to say, Reese?
Evening, guys. talkSPORT, best radio station in the country.
Thank you. Yeah.
But first of all, before I talk players, that Gabby, he is such an Arsenal hater. Like, every time something comes out of his mouth about Arsenal, it's either putting the club down or you're not big enough. You know what I mean? We're Premier League champions now, Gabby. Like, come on, like let's
need a bit more respect. Do you reckon?
Yeah, just a little bit, Maybe he wanted to sign for us when he was playing back in the day. Maybe it's a bit of bad blood that way, but. Moving on to player-wise, yes, big gutting. We're all gutted in terms of Vinny Jr. However, there are players on the market that I believe are upgrades from what we've got already. I think the Rashford one that you guys are saying, I hear that one, that kind of works. He's got the England link up with the boys as well. I think that would work. New fresh start, big club, 100%. But I really like Yilmaz from Juventus. I think he is not quite top world class. However, big upgrade on what we've got already. Can beat players, can score goals, and I think that's what we need down the left side. I think as well, Rafael Leao, I think from AC would be another little bit of an upgrade, better caliber of player. Don't know how they are personality-wise and how they'll integrate into the squad. But if we want goals and we want really a player that can take players on, I think those two are from that ilk.
Do you mean Yildiz from Juventus? Turkish forward, yeah. Yilmaz plays.
You'll learn his name when he signs, don't you worry.
Yeah, that's it. We've taken everyone.
Yilmaz plays for Galatasaray, scored for Turkey against USA in the World Cup, and Yildiz plays as a forward for Juventus. Yeah, I mean, look, they need to bring someone in. I think Rafael Leao's an interesting one because he's been offered around clubs, and I think the feeling is that he's maybe not quite at the level that a team like Arsenal would need. And that's the problem, isn't it? Because the issue is, Reece, that, as we've just said, if you go after Vinny Jr. and you don't get him, everything can feel a bit like a climb down. Everything feels a little bit disappointing. I think if Arsenal fans, like I say, wake up thinking about Vinny Jr. and go to bed thinking about Kenan Yildiz, it's a bit disappointing, right? Yeah, but he is young and he's got a lot of potential. You know what? He's played a lot of games for the age he is. I mean, he's been impactful for Juventus, and he's got a lot of caps for Turkey as well. So look, who knows? Maybe he'll be available. Maybe he'll be a hit. I've not heard that they're looking at him, but I mean, it's an interesting shout.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
No worries.
Cheers,
thank you so much, Reece. Keep your calls coming in on 03717 223344. Meanwhile, elsewhere tonight, the Carabao Cup first round is underway. It was a 7:45 kick-off at Ashton Gate. And watching for talkSPORT is Ian Abrahams.
And we played 12 minutes. Still Bristol City 0, Warsaw 0. But Bristol City are showing already that they're going to be an exciting team to watch this season. Could have scored inside the opening couple of minutes. Good run by Cam Pring down the left-hand side, setting up Max Bird. But the goalkeeper for Warsaw managed to just about keep it out, and they've got a free kick now, which Sam Greenwood is over for Bristol City. Walsall have had a couple of chances on the break, always encouraging his manager Michael Skubala for Bristol City. We'll just see if this free kick is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the Walsall wall, and a couple of Bristol City players hanging about as well. It's 25 yards out, left of centre. It's hit straight into the wall. Wouldn't you just believe that one? And the follow-up goes out for a throw. Bristol City 0, Walsall 0, 12 on the clock.
Thank you very much, Ian. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly and Luke Moore with you until 10 p.m. Up next, we will be discussing my team, Manchester United, and if they've done a good enough job in the transfer window. Keep your calls coming in too on 03717 223344.
You know, 1 minute I'm doing this, I finish at 10:15. There's a car outside. I'm like, what's going on? Straight down to Addenbrooke's, Cambridge. Okay. And a few hours later, wallop, they open me up and stick a new liver in there. So I did have cancer on my liver.
Did you?
And we suspected that for months, to be honest. But they didn't want to go in and touch it and shake it up in case you could make it spread, you know. But anyway, they decided that, first of all, they said the perfect match came in, or else I might still be waiting.
Yes.
And people who know what I'm talking about, who are on the list, you can wait 18 months. You can go down there, get ready to have the op, and they say it's not quite right. Go away, come back. We'll phone you later, maybe in a few weeks, and it can be murder. It can be terrible. But I was so lucky. I went down there and they said, we've got one, and it looks perfect. So we're going to do it now. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? So they eject you all over, and you think you have to sign a few forms.
Of course, yeah, of course.
And you get carried in there, and it's like, goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
I thought, see you later.
Yeah. Just it's a massive operation.
Wife's in tears, and it was horrible.
But you knew though, didn't you, Al? Before that, you knew. You know, when you were on air here and you felt dizzy and you had to come off, you knew something was.
Well, that was the stage where I had to get it done, or it was see you later.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise it was that extreme, but it was. They told me, said another couple of weeks you were gone.
days, we've been treated to some amazing exhibition events in sports. Some become iconic, but many fail to live up to the hype. So what are some of the most anticlimactic exhibitions? Technically, it wasn't an exhibition because it ended up being sanctioned as a pro fight, but it basically was. 2024 saw Mike Tyson return to the ring to fight YouTuber Jake Paul. The event, which Paul won, was streamed by 65 million people on Netflix, making it the most streamed sporting event ever at the time. But many complained of buffering and freezing. And as for the fight itself, well, it was considered an entertaining disaster. I mean, it wasn't prime Tyson, he was 58, and after the fight, Paul, who was 27 at the time, said he'd actually gone easy on Tyson towards the end. Now, Mayweather-McGregor in 2017 was a better watch, despite Mayweather going rope-a-dope early on, but it was way too expensive. Pay-per-view was 75 quid, and in the stadium, the cheapest ticket was over 370. Now, this next one you could have watched for free, only because the pay-per-view had streaming issues, so they had to open it out. I'm talking about Tiger versus Phil in 2018, which was nicknamed The Match. Massive names and massive rivals going head-to-head. On paper, it worked. In reality, it didn't. The two players were mic'd up, so we all thought we'll get fascinating insight. We'll be able to hear them insult each other for 18 holes. But what we actually got was more heavy breathing and sniffles. And for two GOATs, the golf itself was bang average. And speaking of GOATs, let's end with Messi and Ronaldo. In 2023, an exhibition between PSG and the Riyadh All-Star 11 saw them share a pitch for possibly the final time. To be fair, it was a goal fest, which PSG won 5-4, and Messi and Ronaldo both scored. But it was obvious they were past their prime. El Clasico, this was not. And with it being
Good evening. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly, and alongside me tonight is the legend, the Football Rambles, Luke Moore. Now, your transfer headlines tonight: Vinicius Jr. has committed his future to Real Madrid. He's agreed a new contract until 2032. Sorry, Arsenal fans. England goalkeeper James Trafford has completed his move to Leeds United from Manchester City for £40 million. And talkSPORT understands Barcelona are leading the race to sign Manchester City's Rodri. We've just been talking about Vinicius Jr. and why he chose to stay at Real Madrid instead of Arsenal. Stan, the Burnley fan, has messaged us on 81089. Surely the reason why European big superstars don't join Premier League clubs is that it's a bloody hard slog week in, week out, and for longer. Thoughts? Do you think that's the reason?
It's what I don't know, but it's really intense to play in the Premier League, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the standard is high and the pace is fast, and there's a lot of games, and there's no proper winter break either. Maybe that is part of it. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but I think it is a weird anomaly that you don't really see big players at the very top of their game coming from other European clubs to Premier League clubs.
Yeah, I completely
agree. Because Premier League clubs can pay, right? They can pay, so it's nothing to do with the money.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, speaking about teams, the producer's just put this in the script, so he thinks he's really funny. Speaking about teams who can't attract big players, let's get stuck into Manchester United now and their transfer business. Ha, 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 my club. Well, you'd be laughing on the other side of your face because they just won their friendly against Rosenborg 5-0. So there you go, have that.
Rosenborg, big team as well.
Massive team. One of United's. It's going to go down in the history books, isn't it? The fact that Joshua Zirkzee scored, that's definitely going down in the history books.
To be fair, Rosenborg, the team that cost Chelsea Jose Mourinho his job the first time around, hasn't they?
Yes.
So there we go.
There we go. See what I mean? Big team, big moment.
As Mourinho would say himself, that is there is football heritage.
Big team. I'm telling you. Yeah. Now, there was a lot of talk before the summer that Manchester United were going to be going all out. They were going to be really competitive financially. I was talking to our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, about this. He's a Man United fan. We were expecting this big, shiny midfield sign, this marquee signing. We all stupidly got excited thinking it was going to be Elliot Anderson. It wasn't. they've only brought in Andre Santos and Yuri Tielemans so far. Obviously, goalkeeper as well in Carl Darlow. Carlos Baleba might now miss the start of the season with injury, so he could also be out of the picture. It's a tough one for me because on one hand you think Manchester United are always got this track record of overpaying for players, being linked to every single name. It's been a lot quieter and it seems like the transfer business overall seems a lot more measured. We have lost out on players. You know, Fernandes going to Spurs, United didn't want to pay the money, etc. On paper, that is smarter, but is this side ready to really compete in the Premier League to get top four again? I'm not too sure. As an outsider looking in, are you just laughing at Man United or?
No.
Not whilst I'm here. When I'm out there,
I was far too frightened of you, Angelina, to be laughing at Man United while you're here. But exactly. I think that it typifies Carrick's reign so far, doesn't it? Carrick's reign so far has been one of calmness. He's come in and he's calmed the waters. It was a circus. They couldn't move for negative headlines. They couldn't get control of their PR. They couldn't stop their owner making stupid comments. Carrick's come in and the whole thing just calmed down. Yeah. Everyone looked at all the other stuff that was going on, you know. So that's been a positive for them. The reality is, though, that they've not... there's not been a huge challenge for Carrick. I mean, that's really all he was tasked with doing. Of course, they didn't have a huge...
Steadying the ship, yeah.
One of the extraordinary stats about Man United is that last season they played the absolute minimum amount of games they could have played. Yeah. So it doesn't really get any quieter for them, like quite literally.
Yeah.
They'll have bigger challenges this season. How Carrick deals with those challenges is going to, really signify whether he can stay in the job long term or not. I think it was really difficult to manage Man United. It always has been, especially in the post-Ferguson environment, of course. So Carrick's the man there at the moment, but he's got challenges ahead of him. You said there, I know you didn't mean anything by it, but you said they've only signed Andre Santos and Yuri Tielemans. Yuri Tielemans is a really good Premier League operator.
Yeah.
I mean, in that area of the pitch, it's a great move for him and for them. That is a great signing. Andre Santos, I haven't seen enough of him. And I understand he was really good at Strasbourg. He's not played a massive amount for Chelsea. It's very difficult to nail a starting position down at Chelsea in that area of the pitch and play every week. It feels a bit like a revolving door there, so we'll see. £50 million is a lot of money for a player that the majority of football fans won't even be able to pick out of a lineup. However, his age profile's good. He's clearly got a lot of improvement in him. They've seen a lot of potential there. He could be a hit for them. They've lost Casemiro. He's been a massive player in midfield for them for probably arguably slightly different reasons. So, look, there's still plenty of time to go as well. We're having these conversations now with, whatever it is, 3.5 weeks left for the transfer window. So United may still make moves. At the moment, I would be grateful for what Carrick's done so far because, like I say, he steadied that ship. But the challenges to come are going to be considerable.
Yeah, and it's about being able to juggle the different competitions. You'd like to hope that there's not another Grimsby situation and that United will have a decent run in the domestic cups. This is the first time that they'll be playing in the Champions League with this league phase. You'd like to think that they can get through
What do you want to see from them?
Yeah,
what would be a successful season for a Man United fan to see Man United do?
Just less chaos.
Yeah, exactly.
I want less drama. I'm tired of this drama, I'll be honest. But I
have a nice time.
Yeah, just enjoy it because that's what it was like when Carrick was in. My expectations were quite low. And I'll be honest, when Carrick came in, I thought, here we go. We've got another former player coming in. What is this going to be like? And the second that I started seeing the results, I zipped my mouth shut because you were going into weekends without anxiety. It was like, oh, I'm looking forward to this game. You know what? I think we could actually win this game. And it was enjoyable. And, you could feel it in the stadium with the fans, etc. He really did galvanise everybody. In my opinion, it needs to be top six. I think that this season is going to be really
It's got to be hard. That's got to be a repeat of the Champions League qualification, no? Has to be.
I mean, yes.
Because it's wide open, Angelina. It's wide open.
But this is the thing that also scares me because it is wide open in the sense of it could be anybody's. We don't know what some of these new managers are going to be like, etc. But then that also does worry me. With Chelsea, with Xabi Alonso, they're going to be playing less games than Manchester United. I'm interested to see what happens there. I think if that clicks, it could work really well. We don't know what's going to happen with Manchester City. I think that Arsenal are the favourites for the title, in my personal opinion. Aston Villa, you imagine, will kind of plod along. Not too sure what's going to happen with Newcastle, obviously losing Eddie Howe, etc. Spurs, I feel like you can't even look at Spurs until the new year because you've just got no idea what you're going to get there. So in a way, it makes me feel a little bit nervous.
Spurs aren't going to win the Premier League.
No, they're not. We know that. Yeah. We know that. But could they try to permeate that top six?
It would be a massive...
Could they do what Man United did last season?
It would be a massive... Yeah, well, that's a fair point. It would be a massive improvement in terms of the points alone to get anywhere near it, right? My feeling is that, everyone says this about Arsenal, and I get they're favourites, and I get they were the best team in the league last season. It's really, if you look historically, it's really hard to defend a Premier League title.
Yeah.
Wenger never did it.
No.
So
Was it the 30s the last time that Arsenal managed to do it?
Yes, it was. So if you look at the fact that City have got a new manager, Liverpool have got a new manager, Chelsea have got a new manager, there's question marks over all these other big clubs.
Yeah.
And if you throw into the mix that Arsenal will they might even decide that they want to go over the top in the Champions League. They might have to prioritise that. It's hard to defend it anyway. It's a real opportunity for a team that can really grab it, right? So I suppose what you would say is, given they're challenging on more fronts this season, Man United do need to venture into that transfer market and strengthen if they are going to give themselves a chance. But they're going to have. Tielemans is there. That's a really big improvement in that area of the pitch. Who knows what Andre Santos can do, which is a kind of similar position, but obviously further back. Mainu's going to come back in and feel like a new player.
Yep.
We've talked about Rashford. That could be a positive situation as well. We don't know that yet, but it could be. One or two more bodies in there. You never know.
Yeah, well, let's go to the phone lines because Liam, the Manchester United fan, has called 03717 223344. We know Marcus Rashford might be part of this Manchester United team this season. Liam, how much do you think he can contribute?
Yeah, evening, guys. I really don't think he can contribute much at all. I mean, I look at the managers that have said no to Rashford since, Ruben Amorim was never a fan. Whatever you think of the job Amorim done is one thing, but Hansi Flick's now seen him at Barcelona. He didn't feel the need to want him. They felt the need to give him back and go and get Gordon from Newcastle for, was it 70 million? Rashford was there and available for 30, and they see him for the whole of last season. If they think he could have improved Barcelona's squad, they would have got him. He's been readily available. People can come and buy him if they want him. His wage is a big issue. I mean, I've heard people saying, can he improve Man United? I'm not sure if it's a question of whether he can improve Man United. It's a case of, do they want to pay all that money for him? Hansi Flick doesn't want him. Ruben Amorim never wanted him. Emery see enough of him. England struggled in the World Cup with wingers. They come under criticism, the wingers. He didn't make the starting 11 there for Thomas Tuchel. These are all respected managers that don't want him.
Yeah, he did make a contribution in the Croatia game, to be fair, though, Liam.
But what should Manchester United do then? If he is still on the books, should Michael Carrick not be trying to get the best out of him? If he's there, he's going to be there till January? Or should he do what Ruben Amorim did and just keep him out of the picture? Because it's a tough one, because he is technically there, and we do know that on his day he can be a good player. Should Carrick not be trying to use him?
I don't think he'll have much choice but to use him. The issue is he's not always been the model professional. He's had his brushes with he's not a model professional. Well,
do you want an apology then? Do you think an apology would help, or does it not matter at this point? If he came out and said, you know what, I hold my hands up, I wasn't a model professional, I want to try and give my all to this club now that I'm back and do my best, does that carry any weight for you?
Yeah, it does.
Liam, what if Angelina was to apologise on behalf of Marcus Rashford to you?
Yeah, what if I'm Marcus Rashford's representative and I know he's sorry, especially to you, Liam?
Yeah, no, go and score goals. That's your best apology.
Okay.
Man United are in the top four now. The next step is to try and, bring players in that once you're in the top four, you're in the Champions League, you then start to need winning trophies. You then need to win the Premier League. Is Marcus Rashford going to win you a Premier League title? I'm not sure.
I think it's fair comment, actually. I don't have a huge amount of issue with anything Liam said there. I think it's all fair comment. I do think, factoring in the Champions League qualification, maybe the reason they couldn't get players they wanted before was because the Champions League wasn't around. But then they did bring players in, I think also it sends a bit of a weird message to a player like Matheus Cunha, doesn't it, Liam? The fact that he's hit the ground running, he's done pretty well, double figures in terms of goals, plays in the same position. If you're starting to make a big fanfare around Rashford coming back, who hasn't always carried himself with great glory, it does send a bit of a poor message to him as well, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. There's no way you could start Marcus Rashford in front of Cunha. Not the ways. No way. And you're going to have a player on 350,000 a week sitting on the bench, knowing full well he doesn't really want to be there. Yeah. they need to try and offload him, in my opinion. It's the best thing for Rashford, and I think it's the best thing for Man United. But Arsenal fans will be disappointed if they're linked with Vinicius Jr. and they end up with Marcus Rashford. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But I've seen enough of him. He's no Vinicius, that's for sure. Vinicius can win you a league title. Marcus Rashford can't. I think that's the thing you look at there. Manchester United need to reintroduce players to that squad, or not reintroduce, but introduce players to that squad that can now take them from being a top 4 team to a team that can win the title. And we've seen enough of Marcus Rashford. I don't think it's that player. You can take a punt on somebody else on less money a week that's probably going to cost you less money overall, and you can probably get the same performance that Marcus Rashford is going to give you.
I think the problem is, Liam, is that it's really hard to see where they offload him to, right? Unless he's going to agree to take a big cut in his wages.
Yeah, exactly. We're in the same position again where, we might have to loan him out, but he could dig his heels in and say, I don't want to go out on loan anymore. I want to know where I stand. In which case, Michael Carrick then, he might have to suck up to him a little bit and try and find a place for him in the squad. But I don't see where there is unless Rashford really decides to get his head down and prove his worth. I mean, could he play number 9? Could he play through the middle? I mean, there was question marks over Sesko last year. If he starts slowly again this year, could he play through the middle? I mean, Mbeumo kind of took that spot last year. I don't see how he gets in the starting 11. And for a player like Rashford that's going to want that, I just could see him causing issues if he's sitting on the bench every week.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from there, Liam. Some good points. Thank you very much for your call. Keep your calls coming in, 03717 223344. Let's get an update from the Carabao Cup first round at Ashton Gate from talkSPORT. For talkSPORT is Ian Abrahams. How's it looking, Ian?
Just past the half-hour mark, still Bristol City 0, Walsall 0, but Bristol City is certainly on the front foot and should have had at least 2 goals. First of all, a really good effort by Max Bird, just over the top of volley, stinging volley from about 10 yards out, just over the top of Jed Ward's goal, and then a really good move down the left-hand side as Aaron Prestley has a header that's really well saved by Sam Tickle on his Bristol debut, and Prestley again from 2 yards out, and again Tickle makes the save, and suddenly Walsall come to life with 3 chances inside about 10 seconds. Sam Tickle getting all the congratulations. Really good saves from close range as well. Former Wigan goalkeeper signed in the summer here. The other chance I was going to tell you about, Jed Ward produced a really good save from, Jed Wallace produced a good save from Jed Ward at the other end, but Sam Tickle has just kept Bristol City level on the terms with Walsall here. It's the Championship side, Bristol City 0, Walsall League 2 0.
Thank you very much for that, Ian. We've got live commentary from the Carabao Cup first round tomorrow night here on talkSPORT. It's Middlesbrough against Wrexham, live from the Riverside. Join Ollie Klink from 7 p.m. for all of the build-up. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly and Luke Moore with you until 10 p.m. Up next, we will be heading to North London to chat all things Tottenham Hotspur.
I anticipate Arsenal to absolutely go again and just be as good as they've been this season. The key element for me on the title this year is Rodri. If Rodri's a Manchester City player throughout the whole course of the season, Manchester City will win the league.
That's a shouting off, that isn't it?
Do you disagree? If Manchester City lose Rodri and he goes to Real Madrid, they will not win the league.
I know what you're saying, but I look at it as well from because Anderson's coming, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's not Rodri.
I know he's not Rodri.
But he'll benefit from playing alongside him.
Yeah, that would happen.
But if you leave him on his own in there, I think you've got carnage.
I do know what you're saying, but I think there's more of a factor that Maresca might not be up for it either. You don't know yet.
I think he's up for it.
You reckon he's up for it?
I think he's up for it.
We'll see.
He knows that club. He's been at that club. He understands how that club works.
You're talking like a real Manchester City supporter.
He went to Chelsea. He did.
Are you Blackburn? You're a Blackburn fan, didn't you?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Hold on a minute.
We'll talk about their dismal summer in a minute.
What about the other teams?
Why are you doing this? Why are you deflecting?
Well, I'm just trying to say.
All I was doing was talking about the Premier League title race. That's all I was saying. And I was just saying that the big impact, the key piece of information for me is Rodri being a Man City player throughout the whole course of the season. And if he is, Manchester City will win the league.
Cool, but that's a shout.
Do you not think so?
So where was he last season?
Getting back from his ACL, mate. Do you not think so?
No, listen, mate.
So you're tipping Arsenal. You think so? You believe in what I said at the start of the show, that you believe that we're entering a dynasty time.
Yeah, but I don't. I wouldn't hang my hat on it.
Good evening. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly. Alongside me tonight is broadcaster Luke Moore. Matt, the Arsenal fan, has messaged in on 81089. Nobody has mentioned Nico Williams for Arsenal. He would be a great shout. Be a great shout, Luke.
Good player, plays off a left, of course.
Yes.
Exciting forward player. Signed a big deal at Athletic Bilbao, but does have a clause. Maybe we should ask Andy Brassel about it later in the show because he's coming on.
You know what? I
think
like
it's a
you
good one
thinking.
to ask him.
Yeah, definitely. And he gave his medal to his mum immediately, which I like.
That's very nice.
Good lad. Good lad.
He grabbed it back off her though when the cameras are off.
Yeah,
Give
but
me that back in.
don't ruin the illusion. He gave it to his mum. That's all he needs to do. Anyway, keep your calls coming in on Manchester United as well. 03717 223344. But let's talk Spurs, because talkSPORT understands that Mickey van der Ven is close to agreeing a new deal at Tottenham Hotspur. So let's speak to George Sessions, Spurs correspondent for the Press Association. Good evening, George. Mickey van der Ven looks set to stay at Spurs and sign a new contract. How has this come about?
Well, Roberto De Zerbi is the reason. You know, I think you asked or you polled Spurs fans probably in February, March time before Roberto came in, and I think most would have said Mickey will go in the summer. But he, was completely transformed by De Zerbi, and I think there's probably a point where either one of him or Christian Romero was going to go this summer. And maybe at that point it felt like it was going to be Mickey because, he'd just been sent off against Crystal Palace. Spurs obviously in a dire situation and his form had, fallen off a cliff. But, he really, really stepped up during those final 7 games, was captain for a lot of it when Christian Romero got injured. And I think it makes a lot of sense now for him to kind of be the face of the new era, essentially, and for Romero to be moved on and Mickey to sign this new deal. He's obviously got his Dutch partner as well, Jean-Paul van Hecker, next to him now as well. And Spurs haven't announced a captain yet. I certainly think Mickey will be in the conversation for that. And this new contract, tying him down to a long-term deal, maybe being the captain or certainly vice captain, it all sort of pushes him in the right direction, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really important for them, isn't he? And if they're going to, you don't really want to, if you're going to lose one centre back, that's careless. But losing 2 in the same window would be criminal, you'd suggest. I mean, one player that looks like he might be moving though is Jed Spence. Do you have any information on that, George?
Yeah, Jed's a funny one. Obviously a brilliant World Cup. He was, arguably England's 3rd best player, maybe 4th best player after Kane and Bellingham, you'd say. And that came after he'd been part of a team that finished 17th, and he was hardly pulling up trees for Spurs last year. I don't think he was one of their worst players, far from it, but rarely played in his favoured right back position and used a lot out of position at left back. The situation for him is that he's come off the back of this brilliant World Cup. And he knows that Pedro Porro is going to be Tottenham's first choice right back. De Zerbi loves him. And Spurs have signed Andy Robertson this summer to provide competition with Destiny Udogie at left back. So where is Jed Spence going to get his minutes? I think in an ideal world, Spurs probably keep him unless somebody comes in with a 35 million, 40 million offer. But at the same time, he is a sellable asset. He's going to want to play minutes. And Liverpool have been mentioned, haven't they? I certainly think that's one to keep an eye on with Jed, because the game time is not there, and he's going to want to kick on, understandably, after an excellent time in America.
I tell you where I think he would get minutes. It's Manchester United. I think that he would be an excellent replacement for Luke Shaw. And no disrespect to Luke, because he had a great season last season, but it was with a comfortable amount of games, shall we say. And I think him coming in as a fullback at Manchester United, maybe it's just wishful thinking from me, having seen him live at the World Cup. I was really impressed. I think that would be wonderful for Manchester United. A girl can dream, hey. But I wanted to ask you, George, in general, what have you made of Roberto De Zerbi so far with his time at Spurs?
Yeah, I mean, he's a hero to Tottenham fans, and maybe that seems strong, but honestly, everyone thought Spurs were going down. I know it kind of probably wasn't, as doomsday maybe in the media and, kind of with general fans, but I think any Tottenham fan that watched them, firstly under Thomas Frank and then under Igor Tudor, the belief and the confidence that the sort of group of players they had could turn it around was completely gone. And even De Zerbi's first game at Sunderland was a bit of a nightmare. Bad injury, deflected goal, another defeat. I think Spurs had gone 15 matches at that point without a win, or maybe 14 in the Premier League. And De Zerbi really was the one that rescued it. He deserves all the credit for that. The players, were nowhere near playing the level they are, and he got them back to a good level, and that was with huge injuries as well. So going into this summer, it always kind of made sense that he was going to get very big backing from the club. He'd essentially just saved the club a 250 million black hole that was coming if they'd got relegated. So he was going to be given the keys to get the players he wanted and to reshape the squad as he needs. And, you've seen that really in every position other than forward. Obviously, centre-back wise, he got Van Hecker from Brighton. Somebody he's described as his son, and Sandro Tonali has come in. He loves Fernandes as well, Matheus Fernandes. So there's lots of good players that have come in, but what De Zerbi wants now and what Spurs need now is the bomber in attack, as he kind of hinted at a couple of weeks back.
Well, do we know who it's going to be? Have we got any ideas? Who the bomber is?
I think Cody Gakpo feels the one that De Zerbi really wants. I think it would have been Junior Krupi potentially. Spurs were very much interested in him, and it felt like that once they sold a Romero or a Bergvall or a Spence, for example, then they'd go with a big bid for Bournemouth, and it would be a case of testing Bournemouth's resolve, because Bournemouth have consistently said that he is not for sale, Alex Scott is not for sale, but if you put 85, 90 million in front of him, maybe they then break. He's now out, isn't he, until October, November time with a bad injury. So I think the next target is Cody Gakpo. Savinho is there as well, but he's been there a long time, and still Spurs don't seem certainly don't seem that close to closing that deal. So Cody Gakpo feels the more newer name on the block, and look, it's not going to be an easy deal to do because he's an experienced player, and Liverpool aren't going to let somebody go unless they've got an attacker coming in. So I sort of wonder if over the next week, 2 weeks, we see Liverpool really push for attacking signings, and then it opens the door to Cody Gakpo going to Tottenham. But as I say, it's going to take a lot of money, probably looking at 70, 75 million. So it's another big deal that Spurs have got to do, and time is running out.
Is Gakpo a bomber?
I was going to ask you that.
Stretching the terminology to its very limit there, George. I don't want to be harsh on a good pro, but I mean, that's a big stretch, surely.
Well, De Zerbi said, and you have to take him at face value for this, that Tonali is a bomber and Fernandes is a bomber and Van Hecker is a bomber.
It's like Oprah, you're a bomber, you're a bomber.
I think, I get the point. Look, my take on it is that I think Spurs have had a really good summer. I think they've also sold quite well. If you look at the terms of the deals they've engineered for players that have left the club, it kind of makes sense how they've done it. They've had no choice but to back De Zerbi, as you alluded to there, George, because essentially his leverage when it came to taking the job was so strong that he could basically walk into town and do whatever he wanted. I mean, my question to you, I suppose, is to flip it on its head slightly for conversation's sake. De Zerbi's known to be quite a combustible character. All these eggs are in this basket. Is there any fear at all that it could go south? And if it does go south, how will he react to it? How will the club respond to it? Because whenever I talk about Spurs having a positive summer, I feel like I have to caveat it to the listeners and to the viewers, because ultimately, with due respect, it is Spurs.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair. And I think this is the big question with De Zerbi. The only kind of pushback I'd have is that when you look at where he's been of late, and Brighton and Marseille, for example, and where it's gone wrong, he's fallen out with the boards over signings, hasn't he? And that's something that he can't really complain about unless Spurs don't sign anyone over this next 4 weeks. But I think the feeling is that Spurs will sign at least one, but probably 2 attacking players. So he can't really complain. Everything he's asked for this summer he's essentially got, and then it is over to you. And look, I think Spurs are going to play 1 game a week next season, which is going to make a huge difference. It's almost like a cheat code, isn't it? You saw Man United last season and how poor they were for the first half of the season, and yet they get.
I know, don't you worry, George.
and you finish third. It sort of shows where, and Newcastle
Anything's
did it a couple
possible.
of seasons ago. They come fourth when they had 1 game a week. It really does make a huge difference. So I think, certainly long term. How long is De Zerbi going to be there? Nobody knows. And maybe this time next summer it's blowing up when he's not getting the players he wants. But I think probably for this season coming, it should be smooth sailing. Famous last words, obviously.
Well, there you have it, George. Thank you so much for speaking to us. George Sessions there, Spurs correspondent for the Press Association. This is Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly and Luke Moore with you up until 10 p.m. Up next, we will be taking more of your calls on 03717 22 3344.
Look at Real Madrid. Go and look at this is the point that I think Gabby was making this morning. I know that he was making it regarding trophies and what have you, but look at the brand value.
180 million.
There you go. Right, that's how big that football club is.
Right, that's a lot.
That's how big that is as a worldwide entity. 180 million, and you're talking about him coming to a club that has 32 million followers on Instagram. Again, these are very basic metrics. Very basic metrics. But Vinicius Junior is in a completely different stratosphere. All this talk about him coming to Arsenal throughout the whole course of the summer has just been manipulation from an agent trying to get the dude a few more quid. That's what it is. He was never in a million years going to be an Arsenal player this summer. That's what it is. It's just manipulating the market. Like, see if I can get some more money for my guy. Yeah. Why would he come to Arsenal?
I said that was agent talk. Agent talk. Just using Arsenal as a
leverage.
A tool.
Yeah. Arsenal are interested. Oh, right, wicked. Brilliant. Arsenal, champions of England. Right, well, let's use them. Yeah. Let's use them. Go back to the table with the Real Madrid lads. Yeah, he's coming out of contract. You know what I mean? He needs a few more zeros on this contract. Yeah. Okay. We're going to sign Yandy Mande. Let's put some pressure on you. No, don't worry about that. Vinny Jr. ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Is it?
Come on. You can't leave. I just don't see leaving Real Madrid as unless you don't leave Real Madrid unless Real Madrid leaves you.
That's it.
That's it, mate.
Unless you come to the end of your time on your way, son.
Can't have a supermodel girlfriend and you leaving your supermodel girlfriend.
She leaves you.
For the dinner lady. Like, you know what I mean?
The dinner lady! You can't call Arsenal a dinner lady.
Oh, it's love, innit? It's love.
Good evening. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly, and alongside me tonight is the legend of Football Rambles, Luke Moore. I'm going to keep saying it. I don't care. The new season is underway tonight. The first match of the 2026-27 season has just hit half-time. It's in the Carabao Cup first round at Ashton Gate, and Ian Abrahams is there for talkSPORT.
And Championship Bristol City 0, League 2 Walsall 0. No goals in the first half, but so much action. A really watchable half, and both goalkeepers need to take a bow. Sam Tickle produced a fantastic quadruple save within about 10 seconds, two of them from close range from Aaron Presley to make sure that Bristol City didn't concede. While at the other end, Jed Ward on his debut for Walsall has kept out, amongst others, Laurent Tolai, the new signing for Bristol City, from close range as well. It looked like odds on that he was going to score. Jed Wallace had a couple of efforts that stung the goalkeeper's palms as well, as indeed did Max Bird and Jason Knight. A very, very watchable first half, but we are still waiting for the opening goal of the season. I'm sure it will come soon. Half-time though at Ashton Gate, Bristol City 0, Walsall 0.
Thank you, Ian. And Middlesbrough against Wrexham in the Carabao Cup is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Yes, the season is back. We have been talking about Manchester United and their expectations this season. Ollie, the United fan, has texted in on 81089, and Ollie has said top four and a domestic trophy plus a decent run in Europe this season, or it's a failure. Still need another midfielder, centre-back and full-backs to challenge on all fronts. Rashford is a no for me. Burnt too many bridges with his disrespect these last 2 years. I mean, I love the idea of top four, domestic trophy and a decent run in Europe. But as you then said, Ollie, we need a couple of things in order for that to happen, because I don't think that we can put it all on Harry Maguire and Lisandro Martinez, who gets injured every 2 minutes when it comes to the defence. Full backs he mentioned. I mean,
what about this? Rashford comes back, says, clean slate, I'll play centre-back.
But can he play
Two birds with one stone. Two birds with one stone.
But in this scenario, can he play centre-back, or is he just going to go back there and just give it his all and see what happens?
I've never seen him try. I've never seen him try.
Yeah, if we can get some clarification on it. Has anyone ever seen Marcus Rashford play centre-back? I don't think I have, but you know what? We're looking to figure things out. We're moving pieces around.
You're going to get some value for those wages.
Exactly. You know what? Maybe he should now be training to become a centre-back. We've got him. He's getting loads of money. Rashford, this is the new job now. You go in centre-back with Harry Maguire. Get used to it. But let's go back to the phone lines now. Jay, the Manchester United fan, has called us on 03717 223344. Jay, how are you feeling about United's season?
Well, in all honesty, I think the season this year is make or break for Michael Carrick, first and foremost. I mean, he had a great run. He inherited a squad that was, let's be honest, broken under Ruben Amorim, and all it took to make it better was playing players in the positions that they needed to play in. Believe it or not, that's all it took. I mean, in terms of Rashford, I don't see a downside, and I know that might be an unpopular opinion in United groups, especially the fans, obviously. But he's proven. I mean, I was only young when he broke through. I'm only 22 now, so it was a fair amount of years ago that he did come through now. But when I saw him first and foremost, that match against Arsenal, when he came through and scored those goals, he was a wonder kid. Everybody thought he was a wonder kid. And he's proven since then he's a big game player, he's rapid, he can take defenders on, and the only thing that knocked him was confidence and tactics that didn't suit him. And I think Michael Carrick will change that for him. And I think that the positional challenge for Cunha as well, it's only going to be good for both of them, because it's going to challenge them to train better, play better, and whoever plays the best gets to play. That's as simple as it is for me.
Yeah, the problem is, though, if Marcus Rashford doesn't play, he doesn't like it very much. And a wonder kid is a wonder kid, but Marcus is now 28 years old, right? And he's had his fair share of issues that have been shown across multiple seasons, right? So, and I think the return has been relative. I appreciate he did okay at Barcelona, but as the previous caller said, Barcelona didn't want to take a chance on him. And then, but apart from that, it's been relatively thin gruel. I think you have to go back to 22-23 when he had that really big goal-scoring season for any kind of meaningful, consistent contribution. So for me, it just feels like if he is going to come back, you know, Carrick is within his rights to say, look, Cunha's my guy. I appreciate they're going to be playing on multiple fronts this season. It's going to be a bigger challenge to cover off because, as we've already said, and as you've said as well, all he's got to do, really, Carrick, when he comes in, is just make it a bit more calm, play players in the right position. Totally agree with that. The challenges are different now, and it's whether they can afford the gamble of Marcus Rashford and whether it's diminishing returns from him, I think. What do you think, Angelina?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that one. It's a tough one because if he's at the club, what are you going to do with him? But I agree with Jay that maybe having Cunha there could be a little bit competitive. But I want Cunha to be starting over Marcus Rashford, if I'm being completely honest. So it's where does he really fit? Yeah, he could maybe play through the middle if Šeško needed a break, but we've seen Cunha and Mbeumo be able to do that and step up to the plate. So it's very, very difficult because we don't know what goes on behind the scenes with footballers, but what we have seen hasn't been great. I mean, Jay, do you think if there was an apology of some sort, do you think that would ease fans? Do you think he has to do anything like that?
I honestly, I don't think he has to apologise. And again, I know that might be like why does he not need to apologise? I think the best apology he could give me, as somebody who really grew up watching and supporting him, is to come back, put his all into playing for the badge, like we've been trying to buy. We want players who want to come and play for the badge. Marcus Rashford, he's a born and raised Manchester United player. I mean, in terms of for me, I feel like the point of, obviously, we are going to be fighting on multiple fronts this season. We're instantaneously, we're back in the Carabao Cup, we're back in the FA Cup, you've got the Premier League, you've also got the Champions League as well. If we go deep in all of those club competitions and also want a good run in the Premier League, we are going to have positional rotation. I mean, if you look at the other side of Manchester, as much as I don't like them, City, the positional rotation options that they've got, the squad depth that they've got, is what allows them to perform so highly. So if Carrick, as an ex-Manchester United, I would argue, legend, gets Marcus Rashford on board, so even saying like, look, Cunha is going to be our number one guy, but if you can push him out of that, number one, by performing well, training well, proving that you're worth the wages, worth the time and effort, I don't see that as a bad thing. I think squad depth is a plus. I think the fact that he's very athletic, he's very physical, he's very fast, I think that's great as well. He's versatile. He can play left wing, centre forward, occasionally on the right, tactical flexibility. And he's a homegrown player. I think he deserves a second chance.
Well, there you go. He deserves a second chance. Thank you for your call, Jay. Let's speak to Mike, the Forest fan, next. Mike, what would you like to say about Marcus Rashford?
I think he'd be excellent. The way we played under Nuno with
Forest.
the wide wingers. Yeah, absolutely. Gibbs White threading him in. I've got a bit of a Forest wish list, really.
Ooh.
With Spence back, 40. I know our chairman's ambitious, right? I think if Forest could bring Reinders in, who is obviously, the rumours don't come from nowhere. Maresca obviously doesn't fancy him. He would be an excellent replacement for Anderson. Get Rashford in the channels. Get Spence back because he was amazing for us when we got promoted. I appreciate we're not Champions League, but
no, I'm having Spence. Can I not have Spence at United? Can I trade you? Rashford. You have Rashford. I'll have Spence.
Well, no, I want them all because I'm
all right then, Mike.
I'm drinking the juice of our chairman. I think with Europe took a lot out of us last year. And I think that injury to Gibbs White, we maybe could have, Villa was a tough game away, but I think we can rebuild. We've kept Gibbs White. I understand the Anderson price, but I think Gibbs White threading Rashford in, and Rashford can play up top when Woods had an injury-prone season. I'd get Brennan Johnson back out of London, and I think those four, Forest would escalate. With Glasner, I think we'd be a real tasty operation.
Not worried about PSR here, or does that not come into the wish list?
Spreading that Elliot Anderson money very thin, because they were under a lot of pressure PSR-wise before they sold Elliot Anderson.
I know, but it doesn't matter, does it? Because Chelsea can do it and get nothing. So I don't get how the Premier League treats different classes of clubs differently. But
you really are drinking the Marinakis juice. You weren't lying.
Well, exactly, but that's what we do now in Nottingham. We believe and we dream, and I think look, Anderson is a loss. He's a brilliant player, but I think if we can replace him with the quality of Reinders, which would have been a dream, 2 years ago, let alone any longer. And players like Gibbs, I think Gibbs White could flourish with somebody like Rashford.
The problem is, though, Mike, the problem is that it's very, very unrealistic to suggest that Forest are going to be able to stretch to Marcus Rashford's wages. I mean, when we talk about Marcus Rashford in terms of where he goes next, we are essentially building in the idea that he's going to have to take a wage cut, because no other club is going to pay £325,000 a week for Marcus Rashford, who's got 2 years left on his deal at United. It runs till 2028 on astronomical wages. I mean, it's going to involve some kind of climb down financially on Marcus Rashford's part, right?
It's a loan, like the Villa. There's no way Villa paid him that when he was there.
The Villa made a contribution, I think, but it wasn't a massive one. That's a fair point. But I don't know if Rashford wants to go out on loan again. I don't think
Manchester United want him to go on loan again.
Right.
I think he's a big house to put it on, but I think he's proven. He just won La Liga. Look at what he did in La Liga. He didn't go to the World Cup because a very experienced manager who let us down in different ways and when it mattered, but we won't talk about that today. He took him for a good reason. I think he'd be an elevator. I think players like Gibbs White would punch up again. I think everybody looking around, there'd be a buzz about that kind. And every time he comes to Forest, by the way, he's the player I'm scared of the most in a Man United shirt. When he used to come.
Well, there you go. Thank you so much, Mike. Great call there. Loving the wish list idea. If anyone else has got a wish list, let us know. Keep the calls coming in on 03717 223344. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly and Luke Moore with you up until 10 p.m. Up next, we will be getting the latest on the transfer business in Spain with European football journalist and one of Luke's busy mates, Andy Brassel.
£75 million for a player whose biggest attribute is to fall over on the edge of the box and win himself a free kick.
Gosh,
is good money. And if he wants to go and sit on Arsenal's bench, where he'll not be adored like he was at Newcastle, then he's basically going for the money.
The tune has turned. The tune has turned.
All right. So tell me you're not bitter.
Oh, I'm not bitter.
Stop that! He can't be talking like. What is he doing? Just on the floor? He's
falling at the edge of the box. Falling at the edge of the box.
Falling at the edge of the box. Now you're bitter, man. Come on, you got to be. You can't be saying them type of lyrics there on live national radio. He was good for you lot. You know that.
He was good. I tell you what.
Yeah, if he's got down the motorway, if he's going down the motorway and he says, you know what, I've got to change your heart, I'm going back. Are you gonna have him back, or are you gonna batter him just for thinking about leaving?
Me personally, I would have him back. I don't want him to go, but I think it's good. I think it's good money for a player who's limited.
Oh God!
It is good money.
Why do you have to have the dig though? Don't stop having the dig.
And the key thing is now, mate, reinvesting it into the playing staff, isn't it? I mean, the money that you've pulled in with Tonali and Wood, and obviously now this week Guimaraes, you've got to reinvest it into the lads, haven't you?
Yeah. And when we finish above Arsenal, Spurs, and Liverpool at the end of the season, and look down on all of them players who've left, right? talkSPORT will need to find something else to talk about, won't they?
This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina, Kelly and Luke Moore with you up until 10 p.m. But there has been a goal at Ashton Gate. First one of the new season in the Carabao Cup for Ian Abrahams.
Take a bow. Walsall, Bristol City 0, Walsall 1. Walsall of League 2 threatened in the first half and have scored 2 minutes into the second. Good move down the left-hand side, and Aaron Prestley, who twice was denied by Sam Tickle in the first half. Tickle got his hands to the ball, diving away to his right-hand side, but inside the 6-yard box this time, Prestley wasn't going to miss and found the back of the net. So Walsall, against the odds, probably against the run of play, definitely have the lead here. 3 minutes into the second half, Walsall lead. Bristol City 0, Walsall 1.
Oh, we are back. Thank you very much for that, Ian. Now, we've been talking about Rodri, we've been talking about Vinicius Jr., so let's just get stuck into all things when it comes to Spain and the transfer window. And I am very, very happy to say that Andy Brassel, European football journalist and host of the Trans Euro Express on talkSPORT, and one of Luke's busy mates, as I said, joins us. Andy, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'd say like we're acquaintances.
Yeah, colleagues. We're colleagues. Colleagues.
Acquaintances? Oh, I misspoke with Bezzy, mate.
He doesn't say that on invoice day, I'm telling you that.
Oh, wow. Listen, you're both laughing about it, so I thought I'd overstepped there.
No,
anyway,
no.
Let's just brush past that, shall we? Rodri. Talk to me about this, Andy Brassel. There's been a bit of a transfer tussle. talkSPORT understands that Barcelona have designs on hijacking Real Madrid's move for the player.
I think it's gone beyond designs already, Angelina, because Real Madrid have made a bit of a mess of this, basically. Rodri has wanted to come to them for a long time. We're not just talking months. He's had a broad agreement with Real Madrid for a few months, it seems, but he's wanted to come there for a long time. And then essentially, they've tried to lowball Manchester City. And because of that, Barcelona have actually got one over someone on the transfer market, which is amazing because it's not something they often manage, but it's sort of lined up for them pretty well because not only can they hurt Real Madrid, but they've just got the news back, and it's been a bit of a fuss in Catalonia in recent days, that the knee injury to Frenkie de Jong is worse than they thought. It looks like he could be out for up to 4 months. So he steps in, slots in perfectly. Look, I think on a stylistic level, he suits Barcelona much better anyway. But quite how Jose Mourinho digests this, I'm really interested to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's not taking it with his usual kind of magnanimity, I expect.
I was going to say, do we reckon something's getting thrown across the room?
Yeah,
or?
I think at the minimum. Andy, we've been talking a lot today about Vinny Jr. signing this new contract at Real Madrid, and as a result, the conversation moved on to kind of options for Arsenal in that area of the pitch. And then we had an Arsenal fan text in suggesting Athletic Bilbao's Nico Williams, which I haven't seen mentioned at all, but I looked it up, and he's got a long-term contract at Athletic, but he's got a clause in there as well. Is there any talk at all that Nico Williams at any point would leave Athletic for somewhere like Arsenal?
Not at the moment. And you know what? I don't think his form justifies it, Luke.
Right.
He wasn't fit for last season. He only played a... Look, I think the wages are a thing, really, because he's got something that makes him accessible and inaccessible at the same time for Premier League clubs. In the Athletic got him to sign a long-term contract with a gettable release clause. It's around £60 million from
I think we might have to try and get Andy back there. Your busy mate's turned into a bit of or your acquaintance has turned into a bit of a robot then.
He's so upset that you referred to him as my busy mate that he threw himself down a well.
he's had enough, hasn't he? Yeah. I mean, interesting to hear all of that. Interesting when it comes to Rodri, and that Barcelona have potentially got one over on Real Madrid. If Manchester City do sell Rodri, what does that mean for them going forward? Because when you look at their midfield without him, already a one-time Ballon d'Or winner, potentially could be two-time, does City look a bit weak?
Well, it's massive. It's absolutely huge. If you take any club in the top flight in this country and say, we're going to remove not just your best player, I mean, because people have a conversation about Haaland, fine, but Rodri is the best player in that position in the world. And it's not even really debatable. You remove that out of their midfield, it moves the dial massively, which is why, I mean, I was on the podcast with Jamie Carragher on Tuesday on the Football Ramble, and he was saying, well, why not if you can?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not knocking it.
Gabby Agbonlahor was name dropping Rihanna today. I can't name drop Jamie Carragher.
You know what? You can name drop. For the rest of the show, I want you to name drop as many people as possible.
At least my conversation with Jamie Carragher actually existed.
It wasn't just one way in the DMs.
Exactly. He was saying that Man City should be, busting a gut to keep Rodri for another year. And I agree with him. You say to him, yes, you can go to Real Madrid. Your contract's up next year. Give us one more year, and off you go. Make your deal. Get it done. But for one more year, you with us, because they've already lost their manager. So to lose your manager and lose a key part of your midfield, to say the least, just seems careless, right? It's very, very bad timing at the very least. So it moves the dial massively. Having said that, it does look like he's going to go. I mean, it looks like he's told them he wanted to go.
He's going to Spain one way or another, isn't he?
Seems like it.
I also wonder what will this mean with Elliot Anderson, because he's a wonderful player, but there are no guarantees that he's going to hit the ground running at Manchester City. And I think that's another reason why they should be trying to keep Rodri, to make his transition into the club a little easier, in that he's playing with Rodri. He's not having expectations on his shoulders of there's quite some, big shoes to fill in this midfield. Working with Rodri would surely make it a little bit easier for him, and to not have that, it's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
Would you like to, rather than be sitting here with me, would you like to be broadcasting next to the best broadcaster in the world? Would that
you.
Would that make it easier for you? I think it would.
What do you mean that's not you? Who would it be?
That's very generous of you. Thank you so much.
You know what? I was nervous coming in tonight. I'll be honest, but I think I'm doing all right. I would get your point.
I think Elliot Anderson, though, I've heard it on the station over the last few days, and we were chatting about it earlier. I think Elliot Anderson's been done a little bit dirty by the coverage of this. I think he's a way better player than people are giving him credit for. I think a lot of people are talking about the money. I get the transfer fees high. On statistics alone, Anderson is a sensational Premier League player. Listen to this, right? Most touches in the Premier League last season, won possession the most times, won the most duels, and drew the most fouls of any player in the Premier League. All four of those stats are Elliot Anderson's.
Wow.
His numbers are insane. They're sensational. And if you look at him just in terms of the eye test, look at him for England during the summer. Always wants the ball, never hides, all action. So much energy. I honestly think the sky's the limit for him. Like yes, it will be better for him to play alongside the best midfield player in the world. Of course it would. But I think he'll be fine. I honestly do. I think he'll be great.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed he will be for the City fans, because it will be nervy if Rodri does go, as well as losing Silva and Stones and Guardiola, etc. But don't forget, Andy Brattle will be back on a better connection on Trans-Euro Express this Sunday from 8 p.m. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly and Luke Moore with you until 10 p.m. Up next, we'll be taking more of your calls. Keep them coming. 03717 22 33 44.
Hussein, good morning.
Good morning, Shaban. Agbonlahor, you're making me boil right now. I can't stand you, mate.
Oh.
What have you won? What have you actually won, Gabby? You've not won nothing.
Yeah.
All you keep doing is just criticize Arsenal. What have you actually won?
Nothing, mate.
It's actually funny that I used to like you as a striker, but now I don't know what I used to see in you, because you've won absolutely nothing. And Arsenal are going to win stuff.
But
They're going to win.
like me, you said.
Yeah, I used to. But now...
What did you like about me, though, before?
Now he's your big gob. Sorry to say that. He's criticizing Arsenal. But you just don't see how Arsenal are actually making... They're going places right now. We've just won the Premier League. You just even don't appreciate that we did that, because you just don't hate Arsenal. That's your issue.
I love Arsenal.
No, you don't.
I do. Thierry Henry is my favourite player. I've got his shirt that I wear at home.
Don't insult my intelligence, Gabby, please. Just
I
call
love
it as it
Arsenal,
is.
mate.
No, you don't.
I do.
You don't. But let me finish by saying this.
Okay.
Why will not what's his name, Vini, not come to Arsenal? Because
it's
we are
Arsenal.
actually building a team. Because we are building. Why should he stay in Real Madrid? Especially
it's
what
Real Madrid?
happened between him and Jose. Never. You know what? I don't know if I'm gonna get anywhere with you, but I said what I wanted to say.
Let's be honest, we've all found ourselves raging at a referee's decision at some stage. This feel familiar?
That is an absolutely shocking decision. They've got a case in that it was a bad decision. It's such a poor decision.
Yeah, I think he's just made a bad decision in that instance.
But what does it take to get to the very top of football refereeing? Every referee starts with their county FA. It's a simple training course and you can take it as soon as you hit your 14th birthday. Once you've done that, you have to go through at least 11 hours of face-to-face training. You'll then graduate as a Level 7 official, which means you can take charge of county-level games. But hold your horses, there's still a long way to go to get to the Premier League. Your next step is to spend a year each at Levels 6, 5 and 4. This covers the top of the amateur game. Only at Level 3 do you start doing Northern Counties or Isthmian League level games, for example. If you've done this all quickly, you can reach Level 2 and ref your first National League match after, I don't know, 6 years? After getting enough experience at that level, you can apply to be a referee in the EFL. There's an interview, people watching you do games, and then, if the EFL are happy, you'll be granted a Level 1 licence to ref in games in League 2 and above. Now, they don't just say on you go to the Premier League, you have to work your way up through the divisions. Only after years of hard work and refereeing on cold Tuesday nights in Stoke can you be considered to do matches in some of Europe's very best stadiums. Now, who was the youngest to reach the very top? It was actually Michael Oliver. He refed his first Premier League match in 2010 at the tender age of just 25. So if you want to follow in his footsteps, crack on. It'll only take you roughly a decade, thousands of hours of work and an incredibly thick skin. In total, there are 37,000 registered referees across England, but the PGMOL has only deemed 21 good enough for the top flight. That means there's not even a 1 in 1,000 chance you'll even make it in. Obviously, referees can make mistakes, but when you think about it,
Good evening, this is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly and alongside me tonight is the Football Rambles Luke Moore. Your transfer headlines tonight. Vinicius Jr. has committed his future to Real Madrid. He's agreed a new contract until 2032. Sorry, Arsenal fans. England goalkeeper James Trafford has completed his move to Leeds United from Manchester City for £40 million. And talkSPORT understands Barcelona are leading the race to sign Manchester City's Rodri. Tooney, the Leeds fan, has been in touch. He texted on 81089 and he's called us out. I don't know if I'm having this. Tooney said, stop talking about top 6 clubs on every show. If you want more viewers, there are more Premier League clubs to talk about. I mean, I did talk about James Trafford. I just mentioned it then. I talked about it at the top of the show. If you weren't listening, Tooney, then I'm sorry. But you know what? I'll take the feedback on board. That's absolutely fine.
Let's do Portsmouth for the next hour then.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the team I support. I'm happy to do that.
Right, we'll do that. Well, I've got one or two things to tune in.
No, we're not doing that.
No, absolutely. Yeah, got quarter past allegedly, so stay tuned. But, we need to make sure that Tooney's all right here.
Yeah.
So, Rafa Leao has been linked to Arsenal, Manchester United, and Leeds United. There we go. I mean, what's happened to him? It sounds like Leeds, weren't interested at one point, but what are you thinking about this?
I think he wants to leave AC Milan. As far as we know, because we talked about it on the transfer side last week, he's been farmed around to different clubs and no one's kind of bit on him. No one has really decided to go for him. And even Leeds United in this case, I don't mean even as in because Leeds are terrible or anything like that, but he's not found a landing spot yet, even though Milan seem to be desperate to kind of offload him.
And we've also got reports about Liam Delap, also linked with Leeds United as well as Everton. It's not worked at Chelsea. Could maybe do a job for either of those teams.
It's a funny one, Delap, isn't it? Because, he scores... did he score pre-season? He had a chance or two pre-season. He was playing in pre-season for Chelsea anyway this week. It looked like during his time at Ipswich, he might be the natural successor to Harry Kane for England, right? Because he can do a bit of everything.
On paper.
Yeah, of course. And
I think United dodged a bit of a bullet not getting him, not bringing him in.
Yeah, but it's easy to be an expert in retrospect, right?
True.
He looked like a good player. He got his big move. It's not worked out for him so far. He's not really had an impact at all at Chelsea just yet. And maybe he does need to go somewhere where he can play a lot more. I personally wouldn't judge a player for not being able to succeed at Chelsea. I don't mean that as a dig at Chelsea. But there's a lot of upheaval there. There's a lot of comings and goings. It's very difficult to make an argument they're ever really settled, particularly in recent years. So I wouldn't judge them the same way I wouldn't judge a manager for not succeeding at Chelsea. I just think it's difficult to do so in that environment. But would a move to a Leeds United or an Everton be good for him? Well, I think it would, because I think he'd play. And if he plays, he's got a chance to show what he can do. It hasn't worked for him at Chelsea so far, though. Absolutely, I agree with that.
Only one player that I will have a bit of a dig at for not doing well at Chelsea, and that's Alejandro Garnacho, because it's Alejandro Garnacho, and he really upset me during his time at Manchester United.
You can't really find me. I'd love to get a phone
clothes out his pram.
I'd love to get a text or a phone call from someone here who likes Alejandro Garnacho.
Yeah, who likes Alejandro Garnacho?
He's got to be the most hated on player in the country.
Well, you know what? Give us a call on 03717 223344. Do you like Alejandro Garnacho? Are you a Manchester United fan who always, thought there was something there? You're upset that
Come on and defend him. Come and
defend him. I mean, Chelsea fans, are there some of you that like Alejandro Garnacho? Aston Villa fans, are you excited to have Alejandro Garnacho? Let us know. But we'll go back to the phone lines because Liam, the Manchester United fan, has called us on 03717 223344. Liam, how are you feeling about Manchester United summer? And also, Alejandro Garnacho, fan or not?
He's a fantastic player.
Your thumbs up for You want Garnacho back? What do you mean?
No, I'm joking.
I was going to say, Liam, you had me there. I'll tell you what, that was some brilliant acting there. Please. You stressed me out there. That was great. But yeah, so we're thumbs down on Garnacho, just to confirm.
Definitely, yeah.
Thank you. Right, carry on.
All I want to say is the only player I want, to be fair, Marcus Rashford. If he stays at Man United, it will be like a new signing for Man United.
Do you think? Do you think that he'll be able to turn it on for United?
He needs to stay with Carrick as well. I mean, the fraud that was Ruben Amorim. Let's not talk about him. Tell you, with somebody like Michael Carrick who knows the club inside out, Marcus Rashford will do the business this season.
Where do you sit with him needing to take accountability for things, needing to perhaps say that he's sorry, address the fans? Does he just need to do it on the pitch, or would you like to hear from him?
It does the talking on the pitch for me.
Yeah.
If he comes in, scores 15 goals this season, has 10 assists, that's his apology right there, isn't it? That's apology for me. But if Michael Carrick can get him firing, he will get him wanting to play for Man United again. 100%.
We've had such he's such a divisive character, isn't he, Rash? We've had so many calls from Man United fans saying like a range of different opinions. It's interesting. It really will be interesting to see how it sorts itself out ahead of the transfer window closing and Man United's season starting. I mean, Liam, what do you make of Man United's transfer business so far, and how far away are you from being happy with what they've done?
Tielemans is a great signing.
Yeah, I agree.
Tielemans is fantastic. He's good on the ball. He's good in tight spaces. He can shoot from distance. I mean, I think he scored last season against us, or was it the season before, from distance, and he's a fantastic player. Andrea Santos, I'm not too sure about. He's only a young lad. Time will tell with him. But yeah, I think they need to strengthen in the fullbacks for me. And I know what you say about Liam Delap as well. I'd take Liam Delap as well. To be fair.
You would, okay.
I think it'd be very good for United.
Well, thank you so much for your call there, Liam. Keep your calls coming in 03717 223344. He mentioned fullbacks there. We've not really spoken about Lewis Hall because he's a name that's definitely on the Man United wish list. But with the amount of outgoings at Newcastle United, reportedly how much Lewis Hall would cost as well, it's becoming a difficult one for Manchester United. But do you think that they need to go old school like Sir Alex Ferguson would do and just figure out a way to get Lewis Hall?
I mean, he's a fantastic player. He's really, really good. At his best, he is superb. I really rate him. I thought he was unlucky not to go to the World Cup.
I agree.
He's got years ahead of him, of course, to maybe kind of right that wrong. But from Newcastle's point of view, I mean,
they're bolting that exit door, surely.
It's just disastrous. I mean, if you're a Newcastle fan listening to this, you go, I can't believe we're talking about another one of our players leaving, you know. I think he'd be a great signing for United. He fits in perfectly. They need him. But I feel bad linking him because Newcastle have had so much to deal with already in this transfer window. We come off the back of talking about Bruno Guimaraes gone, Sandro Tonali's gone, Anthony Gordon's gone, the manager's gone. I just feel like it's cruel at this point.
Yeah, it is a little bit. But you know what? Sometimes we've got to be cruel on transfer insiders because, you know...
Well, Newcastle have done it. It's their fault. They've let it happen.
Exactly. Why are we feeling bad? It's not our fault.
It's not our fault.
Absolutely not our fault. But anyway, let's get an update from the Carabao Cup first round at Ashton Gate for talkSPORT is Ian Abrahams. How's it looking, Ian?
A smidge over 20 minutes to go. Still Bristol City of the Championship 0, League 2 Walsall 1. That goal by Aaron Presley very early in this second half. Still the difference between the two sides. And to be fair, Bristol City are pushing. They're trying really hard to get level. The best chance they've had, ball into the box. Wallace had an effort, and then Cam Pring from close range tried to force it over the line. Went past the goalkeeper Wallace, but Connolly was there, came on as a first half sub, the defender, and he was there to clear it off the Walsall line. Michael Scubalo looked very relaxed in the first half and encouraging his team, not looking quite so relaxed now. His first competitive game in charge of the Robins, and they are currently losing. 20 to go, Bristol City 0, Walsall 1.
Thank you, Ian. And don't forget, we've got live commentary from the Carabao Cup first round tomorrow night here on talkSPORT. It's Middlesbrough against Wrexham, live from the Riverside. Join Ollie Klink from 7 p.m. for all the build-up. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly and Luke Moore with you until 10 p.m. Up next, we'll be talking, Luke. We'll be talking about Portsmouth.
Great.
Exciting.
Can't wait.
Also, keep your calls coming in on 03717 223344.
But the Vinny Jr. one was a audacious attempt, to say the least.
Big word for you.
I've been learning this book that I've been reading. I've got these big words in. I'm trying to keep them in my brain. No, but it was always going to be tough shit, man. Like Vinny Jr. leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, it just doesn't sound right. As Arsenal fans might get angry, I'll say it, but like, imagine Neymar Jr. at Barcelona. He's not going to leave Barcelona for Arsenal. They're always going to come to an agreement. Real Madrid aren't going to let a talent like that at 26. Do you know what I mean? What's he worth on the market? I know he's got a year left, but what's he worth, Vinny Jr.? over 100 million easily. Real Madrid are never going to let that go. And Vinny Jr. in his mind won't want to leave Real Madrid. Imagine the crowds in Brazil, the people that love Vinny Jr. because he plays for Real Madrid. I just can't see it.
Well, that is interesting because it was my understanding that it was if he wanted to leave Real Madrid. There's never been a he wants to leave Real Madrid.
He's not said it, has he?
He's looking for the right offer. He's looking at Mbappe going, can I get money close to that? Can I get a deal close to that?
Of course.
And if they're not going to give me what I deserve, then yes, I would be interested in what Mikel Arteta is doing. And don't get me wrong, Arsenal are a massive club and they are on the verge of winning the Champions League. They're looking to go back-to-back Premier League champions. They absolutely can, right? They can. So, and I think he would get them over the line, but he's Vinicius Jr. The Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly, and alongside me tonight is the Football Rambles, Luke Moore. Now, the new English football season has started. The EFL Cup first round has kicked off tonight and continues tomorrow. Middlesbrough host Wrexham live on talkSPORT. Wolves also host Port Vale. Then on Saturday, there's a full programme at 3 o'clock, including West Ham United against Luke's team, Portsmouth, live on talkSPORT 2, while on talkSPORT, Adrian Durham, he's back. He's taking you around the grounds with all the goals as they go in. Luke, thoughts on the EFL Cup starting on a weekend rather than midweek first up?
I find it very hard to generate a kind of passionate opinion about that, to be honest. I mean,
not that fussed.
They've got to fit it in somewhere.
Yeah, it's a tight schedule. We've got to get everything done. Are you excited about Portsmouth facing West Ham live on talkSPORT 2?
I mean, no, terrified.
No,
yeah,
terrified.
Well, it's probably the hardest game they could have got away at West Ham.
Get it out the way first. Then.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, Portsmouth they've got challenges this season. West Ham, if you look at the players that West Ham can field in this game, you're looking at. Castellanos, who looks great, amazing he stayed. Jared Bowen, amazing he stayed.
Fair point.
There's players that are much
It's scary.
better. Yeah, it is. And Portsmouth have got a huge amount of injuries. They probably need maybe 4 or 5 more players to be happy with where they are. They've got to get Marko Milivanovic, who signed for them. He seems to be quite a decent prospect, still young. Looks like a big, strong forward who could flourish in the Championship. He needs to hit the ground running. I don't know if he's going to be fit. It looks like they're sweating on his fitness. Colby Bishop may start up front. He's gone from being a massive scorer for Portsmouth in League One in the promotion season through to having a decent goal-scoring season when Portsmouth's first season back in the Championship. Last season, he did nothing. Scored something like 3 or 4 goals in the league across 40 games or something. So they need to do something about that. Adrian Segacic, who's been good since he's come in, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders in that kind of forward, wide right forward position. And then Mousinho's done a fantastic job with a really low budget. I mean, Portsmouth's budget last season was the second lowest in the Championship. The lowest was Sheffield Wednesday, who were literally bankrupt. So for them to stay in the league is a great achievement. He's done a really good job. He's popular down there. The fans would like to see the board back the manager more. I feel like we're in a position with Mousinho. It's his first proper job as a manager. He's done really well. He's young. He's exciting. If he does too well, the concern would be Portsmouth are going to lose him. So there's a lot to take in. It's a bit of a psychodrama being a Portsmouth fan, Angelina.
I can imagine. It seems a little bit.
It's like you're a Man United fan.
Yeah.
And it's a psychodrama supporting Man United.
Yeah.
Imagine it, but with a team that no one cares about or knows about. So you're basically just talking to yourself about it because no one cares.
See, in some ways, I guess you're under the radar. You're not mocked as much because. I do get a bit of bullying sometimes.
Yeah,
so is there less bullying in that
my
sense?
heart bleeds for you, yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough for me, actually, to be completely honest.
You've had your Alex Ferguson years, though, to keep you warm.
Yeah, that's very true. You've not had a Sir Alex Ferguson kind of figure, no?
Stick on Premier League years on Sky Sports, you'll be fine.
That is very true. I do have that as a comfort blanket. Yeah. I mean, looking at the Championship as a whole, who's best place to go up? I mean, I look, my local team to where I live is Millwall. Can they push again? What are you thinking?
I think Millwall have been decent and very unfortunate. The thing with Millwall is I think they felt like it was their time.
Yeah.
And they didn't quite get it done, right? So that's a difficult one. West Ham are standout favourites. They're going to be easily the favourites. I think, Wolves look decent. I think Burnley have a chance. I think Middlesbrough have a chance. Millwall, I mean, if you look at the prices for the odds for teams to be promoted, Millwall are like way out, like 40-1 or something. I think it's a really decent bet. But West Ham for me are the standout team in the division this year. But then that comes with its own pressure, right? Everyone's expecting to do it. Nuno's got to find a way to make it happen.
And if it starts to waver, then the critics will come out. Personal note, I'm happy to see Bolton in the Championship.
They've had that
local-ish team to me. I think a mate of mine that I went to school with, I think her dad used to do the lights at Bolton.
Right.
Yeah,
what does that involve? What do you mean?
You've got to get on a light, like changing the bulbs on all the big lights. I'm sure they used to do that as a job. So obviously for me,
that was definitely a job.
Yeah, but he was definitely a form of electrician. But I remember that was like, like this girl's dad gets to go and change the bulbs at Bolton.
Good story.
Yeah, really good story, isn't it? One of my best. Well, anyway, West Ham against Portsmouth is live on talkSPORT 2 at 3 p.m. on Saturday, while here on talkSPORT, Adrian Durham takes you around the grounds in the Carabao Cup. Now, tonight, we have been speaking about many different things, but we've been talking about Alejandro Garnacho, and we wanted to find a Manchester United fan who still likes him. Have we found someone? Solomon's called us on 03717 223344. Solomon, thoughts on Garnacho? And don't wind me up.
Yes, you have found one. 20th of February 2025 was one of the best days of my 35 years of supporting United. Garnacho scored a fantastic wonder goal against Everton. And I don't think anyone can say this guy hasn't got a talent. I believe what happened to this young guy was to do with change of management. And hence we have been listening to your show, fantastic show by the way, guys. And I've been listening to your opinions about Rashford, that Rashford needs to apologize, do all of that. I don't think any of these guys has got any apology for the club or for any fan, for anyone. Because these are guys who are playing for United. They love the club. Garnacho came as young guy, Rashford from literally, as much as he knows from birth, and Manu too the same. These are young guys who are playing their football. Manu played every game in the Euros for England, and they had a manager who came, who I believe apparently loved young players, but I don't think he did. He didn't trust these guys to go and shine, and he came and as I used to play football. I used to play for Wimbledon, and when you have a manager who comes and doesn't like you, doesn't fancy you, as a player, you can only try your best. And I can assure you, these guys were trying their best. But they had managers who didn't support them. And we tend to blame them and forget what really happened. I believe Garnacho would do very well under Michael Carrick. I think he will be an outstanding player if Michael can. Obviously, he's gone to Aston Villa now, so we can't get him. But I wish they did, because I think the downfall of Garnacho was to do with the manager. I don't think to do with him. So I would love to have him back.
Did it not annoy you, though, when there were moments like the Europa League final, when he was, throwing his toys out of his pram a little bit? And I know you talk about that goal. It was one goal. It was a great goal. But did he really do enough at Manchester United? And also with Marcus Rashford, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but there were situations where he wasn't being the most professional. We were hearing reports about him, going to Belfast when he perhaps shouldn't have done, reports about, maybe going out a little bit too much. Surely there's got to be some accountability there.
I do understand that there's always should be accountability to every player. But if you can tell me one player who has not put any foot wrong before, I beg to differ. I think every single player on this planet has done things that the club were not happy with, but they put it closed doors. But I don't know, because United is a big club. You can argue that I believe is the biggest club in the world. Obviously, I'm a United fan, so I can say that. But I believe so, because if you look at China, around the world, Africa, from Ghana, where I come from, United flags literally in every house. Some people sleep on the flags. You understand? So it's a big club supporting United. And I think when things happen with United, I think it's more of on the media than if it happened to, no disrespect to All City or Crystal Palace. If it happened to a Crystal Palace player, nobody would talk about it. But if it happened to a United player, it's on the air, because he sells the newspapers, he sells the shows. So I think that is the case. Hence, we hear a lot of people making mistakes. But I think when these guys make mistakes, and as a footballer, I've done mistakes before, sometimes you don't feel good, you're feeling sick. Maybe your manager wants you to play. Even though you've got cold, they still want you to play. So that day that Garnacho was not tracking back, none of us know what this guy was going through behind closed doors. He could be running, he might not even feel well, but he needs to play the game. So sometimes these players go through issues, and because they're playing for a big club, there's huge expectations on their shoulders. And then we expect them to come and apologize or change. No, I don't believe so. I think there's a huge talent in Garnacho. If Aston Villa, and I'm happy he's going to Aston Villa, really, because everyone was saying Rashford is finished. Rashford went to Aston Villa, and he was one of the best players. He went to Barcelona. It was literally, how many goals did he score in Barcelona? About 10 goals. And 10 assists or 15 goals, whatever. You see, so these guys have so much talent in them if they have the right manager, right coaching. And I think Garnacho has got it. He just needs the right father around him, the source of Alex Ferguson. And I think the Aston Villa coach has got that. And I hope it goes well for him. But I think there's a lot in there for this guy. And Chelsea, I think one of your guys said, Chelsea is going through a transition at the moment. So anyone that goes into Chelsea, you can't judge them on Chelsea right now. Chelsea is going through a huge problem behind closed doors. So as a player, you go into Chelsea, it will be hard for you to function or for you to get.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from there, Solomon. It is difficult at Chelsea. Thank you very much for your call, but I still don't know if I'm having Garnacho.
Well, I think if you're being generous, you would say he has a decent season under Ten Hag, right? Scores in the cup final.
Yeah.
7 or 8 goals in the league, and then he plays under Amorim. But who's flourished under Amorim at United? No one. Goes to Chelsea, basket case club. We've talked about them all night. It's a revolving door, and he's still only 22, right? A lot of the reason people don't like him is because
attitude.
He bleaches his hair. He plays for Argentina, and he throws his hands around.
He's got on his back. Is it the Joker or something?
So people don't like that. I get it. He's still got.
And he's a walking contradiction that he plays for Argentina and he's Ronaldo's biggest fan.
Right.
That's a bit of a contradiction, and not a reason to obviously really dislike someone.
He's not like a busted flusher, he's 22. I mean, there's a chance he could do something this season. He's got a talent, for sure.
Who knows? Unai Emery, he loves to try and save a Manchester United player, so maybe Garnacho is the next one. But Webbo's text us on 81089. I am a United fan. I rated Garnacho during his time with us. It's only when Amorim came in, Garnacho really dipped and Amorim wanted him out. I can't help but think under the right manager, Garnacho would have flourished. He went to Chelsea, and let's face it, what manager there was going to improve his attitude and him as a player? Garnacho and Rashford under the right manager, different players. I do understand where you're coming from. I think for me, it was the attitude with Garnacho. I don't think that he really, towards the end, understood what it was to play for Manchester United, to have the respect for the club that I think he should have given. The throwing the toys out of the pram, his brother getting involved. I said at the time, football's like Matthew, you don't go against the family. Don't go against the family. You don't have your brother running his mouth. I struggle to believe that he couldn't have controlled that situation. But anyway, I digress. I'm getting myself all wound up about Garnacho now. Let's get an update from the Carabao Cup. Ian Abrahams is at Ashton Gate for talkSPORT.
2 minutes of normal time to go. Bristol City of the Championship still 0, and the Walsall of League 2 1. That goal by Aaron Pressey looks like producing the first big shock of the season in the League Cup, and certainly it's been a great defensive effort in this latter part of the second half. If England wanted to learn how to defend against Argentina. He should have maybe got the Walsall coach in, because his team have defended manfully against Bristol City in the last 10 minutes, especially goalkeeper Jed Ward, who has produced 3 outstanding saves to keep his goal intact. Not many here tonight from the West Midlands, but they'll celebrate in a couple of minutes' time if they can hang on here. It's Bristol City 0, Walsall 1, couple of minutes of the 90 left.
Thank you, Ian. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Angelina Kelly and Luke Moore with you until 10 p.m. Up next, we will go through all your transfer headlines.
Do you think he'll regret the way he went about last year?
Well, he should, in my opinion. I'm his biggest fan, right? Someone who scores 40 goals a season from right wing, not centre forward. People know him inside out. He can beat you both sides, so you can't stop him. To do that 8 years on the bounce, then he starts the season off and he had 3 goals. In my opinion, he threw his toys out the pram and said, like, the club have thrown me under the bus. That was the first one. We're all going like, what do you mean by that? Club has thrown you under the bus.
Just had an unbelievable bumper contract.
He's got a 2-year contract, 500 grand a week. And then, again, he got left out again, and he had another go. And then just as he was on his way out the door, and he hadn't got the manager of the sack, he had another go saying we should be playing Jurgen. Basically, we should be playing Jurgen Klopp football and go back to it because we've gone right off the boil. And all the directors must have read it and gone, right, we've obviously got the wrong manager. So I don't think he should have done any of that, but he done it, and now he's gone. So I think probably on reflection he would have thought, I've tarnished he's like a superstar at Liverpool. He's up there with Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush as a legend. But that leaving like that, I don't think he should have done that, because it was petulance. It was like as if, you can't leave me out, I'm Mo Salah. Well, he did.
This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly. Broadcaster Luke Moore is alongside me. This is your whistle-stop tour of the biggest transfer news of the day. Your transfer headlines: Vinicius Jr. has committed his future to Real Madrid. He's agreed a new contract up until 2032. England goalkeeper James Trafford has completed his move to Leeds United from Manchester City for £40 million, and talkSPORT understands Barcelona are leading the race to sign Manchester City's Rodri. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. So, Luke, let's start with Vinicius Jr. After rumours of a move to the Emirates, Real Madrid have announced that the player will sign a new contract at the club rather than joining the Premier League champions Arsenal. Let's hear first from talkSPORT's senior football correspondent, Ben Jacobs.
In hindsight, it looks like Arsenal were a stalking horse and Vinny Jr. got an improved offer from Madrid and Arsenal were always there to provide that leverage. But Arsenal caught Real by surprise with a strong pitch and Real had refused over and over again to give Vinny Jr. anything more. And then suddenly in the last 24 hours, it's changed. And I think part of the reason why is Vinny Jr. was genuinely considering Arsenal as a possibility. But now he's going to extend. In fact, he's already signed, and that deal is 6 years until 2032, thanks to an improved offer that only was made to Vinny Jr. yesterday, according to my information. And by Wednesday evening, Real became really confident. Arsenal are now still going to add some form of either left-sided or versatile attacker. Not all the profiles are identical to Vinny Jr., but Julian Alvarez, one possibility if Atleti decide to sell. We know they prefer to keep. Barcelona would love Julian Alvarez as well, but Atleti may prefer, if they realise the player wants to leave, to sell outside of La Liga. So he's a dream target.
I mean, Luke, it's a painful one for Arsenal, isn't it? I don't want to be rude here, but did they get played by Vinicius Jr.?
It's a summer romance, and like all summer romances, they come to an end inevitably.
Sure do.
Inevitably. Never know. Arsenal could maybe wait another 6 years till Vinny's out of contract again and
Go
have another go. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very
look him up on Facebook or something.
Yeah,
Slip
maybe.
into his DMs. Try and get that fire lit again.
You know what? It happens to the best of us. I mean, when you look at Arsenal and this situation, the idea of Vinicius Jr., of course, will have excited the fans.
They've got to go for it. They have to go for it.
They did the right thing, didn't they? And some people might argue that, it's a little bit of a sidestep for Vinicius going from Real Madrid to Arsenal. And fair point, we don't see it happen very often, that players in their prime will go from Real Madrid to a Premier League club. But we have to put a bit of respect on Arsenal here, don't we? They're Premier League champions. And when I say Premier League champions of the biggest league, really, in the world.
They would have been going into this knowing there's an opportunity, a chance, however small that chance was. But there was also perhaps a bigger chance, as it turned out, that he was just using Arsenal as Ben said, as a stalking horse to get a better contract. You have to take that chance. You can't just say, well, I'm not going to bother them because we think he wants to stay at Real Madrid. The situation was they had information that he might be available. He had been in a contract discussion with Real Madrid unsuccessfully for a long old time, right? So there's clearly something going on there. And we mentioned the Mourinho thing, the Prestiani thing as well. So clearly they felt like there was a chance. They had to bottom it out. They've done it. Now they're going to have to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and get back on transfer bumble.
Transfer bumble, I like
That's
that.
what we have to do now.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there were question marks over Vinicius Jr. and his relationship with Jose Mourinho after Mourinho seemingly, tried to imply that Vinicius Jr. brought on some of the racism that he's received, especially last season in the Champions League. And it will be interesting to see how the two of them work together. Maybe things have gone on behind the scenes. We don't know. But regarding Arsenal, where do they go from here? They're heartbroken. They're hurting. They need to, maybe have a day on the sofa with a bit of ice cream, have a little cry. It's
Bridget
all
Jones'
right.
diary, Bridget Jones on the TV.
Yeah, but then they've got to bounce back.
They have,
haven't they?
Yeah.
Where do they look next?
They've identified the fact they need a left-sided forward.
Yes.
That's what they've done. There are options out there. We heard from Andy Brassel that Nico Williams is on a long contract. The wages are high, but the clause is in there. It becomes a tricky deal to do. Marcus Rashford is an interesting one. Maybe they go in for him. There are other options as well. They clearly want. Maybe from the start they should have gone all out for Bradley Barcola. Perhaps he's a versatile forward who can play on the right or the left and is clearly available. Although the price is huge, but then Arsenal have made it clear they can pay. That they've got the money. So they've identified they need a left-sided forward or a versatile forward. Anyone really, with the possible exception of Barcola because of his age, it is a climb down from Vinny Jr. They've dared to dream. It's not worked for them. They've got to find someone else. They need to bring someone in. Julian Alvarez has been mentioned as well. Really exciting players.
I was going to say, could they redirect the funds into signing a new striker, perhaps, if a player on the left wing isn't an option?
Well, Ben said, didn't he, that, you know, a versatile forward is an option. Julian Alvarez, of course, played in the Premier League before. Really good player. He might be someone. He was definitely someone who would improve them, right?
Yes.
So for them, as Premier League champions who are looking to go that next step in the Champions League, they should really, in my view, be looking for any player that improves them. Those players we've listed there, I think, do that, with the possible exception of Rashford, because we don't really know where he is in terms of mindset.
Yeah, very true. Speaking of Real Madrid, of course, they have announced the signing of Yan Diomande from RB Leipzig. Thoughts on that signing and the idea of, I guess, Vinny, Mbappe, Diomande?
Yeah.
Decent front three, that, isn't it?
Well, the two other things that we haven't mentioned specifically about why Arsenal thought Vinny Jr. was available was because around the same time Real Madrid was signing Yan Diomande.
Yes.
Which looked like a slap in the face to Vinny Jr., who's in the middle of a contract negotiation at the time. And the second thing is there's always been question marks about whether Vinny Jr. and Mbappe can play together. I mean, if they find a way to blend Vinny Jr., Mbappe and Diomande, that's a brilliant front
Onto
three.
a winner, yeah.
Right, but Diomande, you're really paying a massive fee for potential at this point. I mean, he's had a good season or so, had an eye-catching World Cup for the limited time that Ivory Coast were in it. It's a big signing. He could go on to be a massive superstar, but it's a lot of money to find out.
Yeah, very, very true. It'd be interesting to see what happens with him. But sticking with Spanish football, less good news for Real Madrid, because talkSPORT understands that their arch rivals, Barcelona, are set to hijack their move for Manchester City's Rodri. Here's European football journalist Andy Brassel.
I think it's gone beyond designs already, Angelina, because Real Madrid have made a bit of a mess of this, basically. Rodri has wanted to come to them for a long time. We're not just talking months. He's had a broad agreement with Real Madrid for a few months, it seems. But he's wanted to come there for a long time. And then essentially, they've tried to lowball Manchester City. And because of that, Barcelona have actually got one over someone on the transfer market, which is amazing because it's not something they often manage, but it's sort of lined up for them pretty well, because not only can they hurt Real Madrid, but they've just got the news back, and it's been a bit of a fuss in Catalonia in recent days, that the knee injury to Frenkie de Jong is worse than they thought. It looks like he could be out for up to 4 months. So he steps in, slots in perfectly. Look, I think on a stylistic level, he suits Barcelona much better anyway. But quite how Jose Mourinho digests this, I'm really interested to see.
Yeah, I'm sure Jose Mourinho will be calmly taking this news in. There'll be no outbursts or anything like that, will there? I mean, how big of a coup would this be for Barcelona?
Well, he's an amazing player. I mean, you're talking about the best player in this position in the world. I'm not sure if it was specifically in the clip there, but Andy was talking about how Frenkie de Jong's injury is worse than feared.
Yeah.
Which is a massive part of it. I mean, the fact that Madrid could have let this slip, if indeed they do, is
not good luck, is it?
Poor form, given that, I mean, Rodri, we're led to believe, has told Man City he wants to go to Real Madrid.
Madrid, born and bred, yeah.
Man City, for their part, should have been moving heaven and earth to keep Rodri for that last year and say, do your deal when you want to go, but you're in contract for another year. We need you for another year to smooth this transition, because we just lost a legendary coach and there's a new one coming in. But I mean, it seems to me that Rodri just wants to go back to Spain, right?
Yeah.
And if you're choosing between Real Madrid and Barcelona, obviously you're in demand, and it's right that he's in demand because he's probably about to win his second Ballon d'Or. But I mean, it's a sickener for Real Madrid fans. Look, I think what's interesting is that Jose Mourinho is very lucky to be back at Real Madrid.
I completely agree.
And now they're, with the exception of Rodri, it seems here, they're hoovering up transfers. They're not just signing Vinny Jr. to a new contract. They're hoovering up these other really exciting players. If Rodri comes as well, I mean, Mourinho's back in business. I mean, they could easily win more than one trophy this season.
Yeah.
He then gets himself right back up at the top table in management. It's big for him as well. Really interesting story, this. It'd be interesting to see where he ends up.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when it comes to Mourinho, is this going to be the way to, like you say, get him back up to the top? All roads lead back to my club, Manchester United. The hopes of signing Tchouaméni for them, this kind of ruins those ideas, because although he did sign a new deal, reports say that Madrid were still considering selling him if Rodri did come in. But regarding the blue side of Manchester and what this means for...
He signed a new deal like 3 weeks ago, by the way.
I know, but They still might have been willing to get rid of him. According to reports, they still would have considered it.
Right.
They haven't actually announced the deal at the time of us speaking. So, who knows? But regarding the Rodri side of things, for Manchester City to not be able to keep hold of Rodri, to have lost Pep Guardiola, Bernardo Silva, John Stones, etc., nervy times for City, surely, especially when you look at that midfield without Rodri.
It feels like a change in the guard. And I think the two players you'd have to argue that City cannot do without is, realistically, Rodri and Haaland. Rodri goes, it moves the dial massively. It's a big, big pressure on Elliot Anderson, who I love. We talked about him. His stats.
There's no guarantees, as great as he is, there's no guarantees that he's going to hit the ground.
Well, it's a big ask. It's a big ask. The scrutiny will be different. The expectations are different. It's a new environment, and all the rest of it. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really obvious conversational point. If you lose the best player in the world in that key position, you are going to be a weaker team. And you've already lost the biggest coach in your history. Losing Guardiola is no different to United losing Ferguson, Liverpool losing Klopp, or Arsenal losing Wenger. It's massive. So anything that smooths that transition is going to be welcomed. If Rodri decided he wants to go, he puts huge pressure on Anderson. It's massive.
Yeah, lot of pressure on him. Like you said, this is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. Up next, we'll be talking about Spurs and Mickey van der Ven. But it's full time in the Carabao Cup, the first match of the new season and the first shock of the new season at Ashton Gate for Ian Abrahams.
Championship Bristol City 0, League 2 Walsall 1. The winning goal came 2 minutes into the second half, scored by Aaron Presley. Good work by Reece Smith down the left-hand side, and when he squared it to Presley, Sam Tickle in the Bristol City goal on his debut made some good saves in the first half, especially to deny the Scottish striker. Couldn't keep this one out despite getting a hand to it. But Jed Ward at the other end, former Bristol City and Bristol Rovers goalkeeper on his debut for Walsall, was outstanding. First half making 2 or 3 outstanding saves, and in the second he was brilliant, especially in the last 10 minutes when the Walsall penalty area was under severe pressure. But Lee Grant in his first game as the Walsall manager emerges successful. To put this in context, this is a Bristol City side in friendly last week that thumped Newcastle 4-1. Some thinking to do ahead of the start of the season against Millwall. Bristol City 0, Walsall 1.
Thank you, Ian. This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT with me, Angelina Kelly and Luke Moore. We're here until 10 when Majestic and Darren Ambrose will be taking your calls on the Sports Bar. 03717 22 3344.
No smoke without fire. Of course not. He is interested in the Arsenal project.
Arsenal
if he's to leave Real Madrid.
Arsenal going for Vinny Jr. is like me sending Rihanna a message on Instagram saying that I'd love you to come to the Bullring in Birmingham. I want to take you around Birmingham on a date. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, he's not leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal. 1 league title in over 20 years. Can't win a Champions League in their whole existence. He's not going to come to Arsenal. He's used Arsenal to get an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound a year, and he's going to sign a new contract at Arsenal. I mean, sign a new contract at Real Madrid. Simple. What he's doing. Arsenal have been used.
Did you ever shoot your shot with Rihanna though? Did you ever DM?
I might have. Yeah, I might have. That's private business. I might have.
But the point is, we know that Arsenal have made a go at Vinicius Junior, so they've tried.
And I maybe I tried, and it didn't work out.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for Arsenal, is it?
You make me cringe.
No, 1 league title in over 20 years. Never won the Champions League. Can't sit at the big table of the Champions League winning clubs like Villa, Nottingham Forest, Celtic. And you think you're going to go and sign Vinny Jr., the fan base that Vinny Jr.'s got in South America because he plays for Real Madrid.
It's not.
Rodri's doing everything he can probably to get out of Manchester City to go to Real Madrid. Haaland will go to Real Madrid at some point in his career.
It's not dead yet.
This is the Transfer Insiders on talkSPORT. I am Angelina Kelly. Luke Moore of the Football Ramble is alongside me. Let's turn our attention to Spurs next, because talkSPORT understands that their centre-back Mickey van der Ven is close to signing a new contract at the club. Let's hear from the Press Association's George Sessions.
Well, Roberto De Zerbi is the reason. You know, I think you asked or you polled Spurs fans probably in February, March time before Roberto came in, and I think most would have said Mickey will go in the summer. But he, was completely transformed by De Zerbi, and I think there's probably a point where either one of him or Christian Romero was going to go this summer, and maybe at that point it felt like it was going to be Mickey because he'd just been sent off against Crystal Palace. Spurs obviously in a dire situation, and his form had fallen off a cliff. But he really stepped up during those final 7 games. Was captain for a lot of it when Christian Romero got injured. And I think it makes a lot of sense now for him to kind of be the face of the new era, essentially, and for Romero to be moved on and Mickey to sign this new deal. He's obviously got his Dutch partner as well, Jean-Paul Van Hecker, next to him now as well. And Spurs haven't announced a captain yet. I certainly think Mickey will be in the conversation for that. And this new contract, tying him down to a long-term deal, maybe being the captain or certainly vice captain, it all sort of pushes him in the right direction, I think.
I mean, when you look at Spurs, they're looking stronger in defence than they did last season. I mean, you've got Marcus Senesi and JP Van Hecker in there, and potentially Mickey van der Ven committing to a new contract. How good is he with Spurs?
Well, Mickey van der Ven,
yeah,
it's a massive turn. Look, what it represents is a huge turnaround in fortunes for Spurs, right? He is a very in-demand defender. We thought there was a chance that Christian Romero, who still might move, and Mickey van der Ven might both go. Right? I mean, they're the first choice centre-back pairing for Spurs. Incredibly important how they into how Spurs actually play. And Spurs had hit rock bottom before De Zerbi came in. Right? Couldn't get any worse for them. The fact that they've now turned that around in a matter of months to Van der Ven looking to sign a new deal, strengthening that area already as well. Now, of course, Romero will probably still go, but Senesi and Van Hecker and Van der Ven are all players that are not just brilliant defenders, but they are brilliant with the ball at their feet. They're crucial to how Spurs play. And it just looks to me now that Spurs are making all the moves they should be in this summer window. I mean, ultimately, they had to back De Zerbi to the hilt. They had no choice. The leverage De Zerbi had coming into Spurs was absolutely ridiculous, because the only way they could have got him to take that gamble was to make everything line up for him, pay him a load of money, back him. They're now having to basically fulfil their end of the bargain and give him the players he wants in this window. I also think they've sold quite well. I was saying this last week. The players they've moved on, they've moved the young Vuskovic defender, young Croatian player for 50 million. He's hardly played, and they've got a deal with him as well where he can come back. They've moved on Will Lancashire, highly rated young forward, sold him for good money, and they've got a clause in there that they can get him back. It's almost like a glorified loan with a load of money as well. So they're making all the right business, making all the right moves. I would be incredibly encouraged if I was a Spurs fan, but I say that with a wry smile on my face, because I think Spurs fans will feel like they've probably been they've been here before as well, right? And it's not always worked out as it should have.
Yeah, exactly. And you touched on one defender who looks like he won't be at Tottenham next season. It's the club captain, Christian Romero. And get this, reports are suggesting Arsenal are interested in signing the Argentinian defender. Thoughts on that, Luke? Could he do a Sol Campbell from back in 2001?
I'm here for as much messy drama as possible.
I completely agree. Let's get this over the line. Yeah.
And I said earlier I have no dog in this fight at all, but we should dare to dream, and the drama is what it's all about.
We dream for, to dare is to do. We dream for drama, though, don't we?
Yeah, and I think the problem is with this, and these are very early reports that are just emerging now from James McNicholas and one or two others. The problem is that it's a very different situation to Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell was out of contract. Romero's in contract to, I think, 2029. He's going to take probably big money to prize him away. They're resigned to the fact they're going to lose him. He didn't shower himself in glory last season, of course. He will go somewhere. To me, it feels like the difference between this and the Sol Campbell thing is, obviously, Spurs didn't get a say in who Sol Campbell was talking to because he was out of contract. Spurs would have to agree to do a deal. They'd have to agree to deal with Arsenal for their for their captain. And, you know, it's so funny, Angelina, because, you know, what am I sitting there talking about? How Spurs have had a really good summer. And they dare to dream themselves and to dare us to do. And we're finishing this show talking about their captain going to their biggest rivals. And it's legitimately being reported. We're not just making it up.
Exactly. This is going to be one hell of a ride with this one. I mean, Atletico Madrid and Inter Milan are more likely destinations. But, hey, Arsenal do need someone to fill in for the injured William Saliba. Why can't it be Spurs' captain? They're just not
going to pick the phone up. They're just not going to pick the phone up.
They'll see Arsenal coming up like, no. Voicemail. We'll deal with that later. Well, I must say, Luke Shaw, the legendary Luke Shaw. Thank you, Luke Shaw.
Yes,
Luke Moore.
I'll take it. Several caps for
Luke
England.
Shaw, Luke Moore.
That's how much you respect me.
Let's rewind. The legendary Luke Moore. Thank you so much. Not Luke Shaw, Luke Moore.
No.
This has been the Transfer Insiders with Luke Moore. The show is back next week on radio, YouTube, Smart TV, and the talkSPORT app. And you can catch the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Acast, or wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up next here on talkSPORT, it is the Sports Bar with Majestic and Darren Ambrose. I'm sure they'll want to talk to you about Arsenal being interested in Christian Romero. Get your calls in on 03717 22 3344.
You know, 1 minute I'm doing this, I finish at 10:15. There's a car outside. I'm like, what's going on? Straight down to Addenbrooke's, Cambridge.
Okay.
And a few hours later, a wallop, they open me up and stick a new liver in there. So I did have cancer on my liver.
Did you?
And we suspected that for months, to be honest. But they didn't want to go in and touch it and shake it up in case you could make it spread, you know. But anyway, they decided that, first of all, they said the perfect match came in, or else I might still be waiting.
Yes.
And people who know what I'm talking about, who are on the list, you can wait 18 months. You can go down there, get ready to have the op, and they say it's not quite right. Go away, come back. We'll phone you later, maybe in a few weeks, and it can be murder. It can be terrible. But I was so lucky. I went down there and they said, we've got one, and it looks perfect. So we're going to do it now. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? So they eject you all over, and you think you have to sign a few forms.
Of course, of course.
And you get carried in there, and it's like, goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah. Just it's a massive operation.
Wife's in